Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Here we are. Another episode of Righteous Reactions. We have some great topics today that are sure to get you fired up. And I have to remind brothers and sisters, don't come on here trying to agree with people, okay? Just be honest, be truthful. People don't come to this to hear everybody agree. They want to hear different perspectives. So I know some people they want to be amicable, they want to be amenable, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you agree, agree. If you disagree, say you disagree. We're not here to change each other's opinions. We're really not. We're here because we have brothers and sisters who like this type of content, that follow us globally. Just to, there's no scriptures being pulled out for the most part, and y'all know when we go scripture, we go way in. But just something biblically based, listening to believers and some of their opinions on real world issues. So I just wanted to say, don't come in trying to fit in. Just be honest about what you think, and it's going to make great content. So we're going to go to our first video, brothers and sisters. Okay, take a look at this.
I cannot be with a man that sleeps in all the time. A man should be up by 7 a.m. and 7 a.m. is being nice. You are not Sleeping Beauty. Get the fuck up. You don't got work to attend. You don't got a workout to get in. There's nothing around the house that needs to be done. Your car doesn't need to be washed. The grass doesn't need to be cut. Nothing. You just sleeping the day away. You just chilling. Ugh. I'm all the way turned the fuck off. Be a man. Get the fuck up. Like, early bird gets the worm. Baby, you are starving. You got nothing. No motherfucking worms for you because you sleep all day. Just chilling. Oh, I wake up whenever. I do whatever. Huh? What? Like, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be embarrassed to say that out loud. Okay? Okay, fix that immediately.
All right, brothers and sisters. Okay, first question. First question. Based on what we just saw, is there an unspoken rule that a provider or leader must be the first one awake? Is there an unspoken rule that a provider or a leader must be the first one awake? What do you all think? You heard what the sister said. She said, brother need to be up by 7. Hey, what do you think, brothers and sisters? Is there an unspoken rule that a provider or a leader must be the first one awake?
Well, I'll say it just kind of depends on his job because if he's working night, I wouldn't expect for him to be up at 7, if he's a night worker. But if he's just, average Joe and working a 9 to 5 or whatever, then yeah, you should be up first because you're the leader of the household. So you should be making sure that the household is protected and getting that structure started for the morning, or at least setting that up. But I was hearing what she was saying. She said she doesn't like somebody who sleep all day. And that definitely is a no-go. Like you're just sleeping all day. I That's bum behavior. Like you need to get up and do something. I just had a conversation like this with someone about that. Get up and do something. I don't care what it is that you're gonna do for the day. Just get up, get out the bed, go outside, get some fresh air because that sets the tone of your day. And to me, once 12 o'clock hit, the day's pretty much about it's just declining at that point. When 12 p.m. hits, you're running out of time for the day. So if you're not up before 12, like you're not gonna get nothing done or very little done. So I agree with her.
Okay, you agree with the sister who says that, hey, a man, a leader needs to be up early in the morning. Okay, what about some of the other brothers and sisters? Is there an unspoken rule that a provider or a leader should be the first one awake?
I'm not sure there's an unspoken rule, but
Mhm.
I would say that if you expect him to be up and awake and getting things done for the day, then you should be expected to be up and providing some breakfast and helping him get moving as well. So, um, a leader has to obviously be up and moving in order to lead, but a leader can also take a day off. A leader can also have a break. Um, but definitely, like I said, I don't think it's an unspoken rule, but for sure, where's the other part of it? Where are you getting up? Are you making him breakfast? Are you fixing him lunch? Are you helping him out for the day? Are you just expecting this man to get up and do everything while you sit there and sleep all day?
A great point, sister. Great nuance there, Sister Nadia. Great nuance there. Introduced another aspect to that. What are you thinking here, brothers and sisters? Is there an unspoken rule that a provider or a leader must be the first one awake? What are your thoughts on this, brothers and sisters?
Like Nadia, I don't believe it's an unspoken, but I do believe that the leader should take the lead. Um, and I've always been an advocate of saying that whether it's from the front, um, encouraging, or from the back, encouraging. I think the leader should be first in all things, essentially, if he's professing to be the leader. But definitely, um, being up and, as the sister said, getting the worm is very vital. And Janae said too, like once 12 o'clock hits, it's starting to teeter towards the other side of the sun. So, and even back in ancient times or old school times, there was a lot of people who woke up at 3, 4 in the morning, got the day started, and um, they were doing their farms and all that. So they were getting out there very early. So. I imagine a lot of it was to beat the sun, so it wasn't beating down so much on them. So definitely, I think a leader should take that initiative and set an example by um, getting up, being productive, active, and going about his day.
Awesome, brother. That's a great perspective, bringing in some of the antiquity, some of the times of the past, and some of the cultural aspects. Let's get Sister Miriam in here. Sister, let's talk about this. Is there an unspoken rule that a provider or a leader should be the first one awake?
Um, yes. If we're generally speaking, yes. Um, Even on your off day, I think it's just important to have that habit of and routine of, just getting up and moving. Moving is important though. You can't just keep laying down all day because, it will affect your health too, Um, if it's just a walk or just getting up, taking a shower and sitting in the living room, you know. But there's always something that you could be doing, whether it's studying or whatever you want to do. It's just important. And, I don't think that if you have a job, then yeah, you should be getting, and it's just all about structure. That's what I have to say.
Mm, that's a great point. That's a great point here. Let's hear from Sister Danielle. Sister Danielle, is there an unspoken rule that a provider or a leader must be the first one awake?
I don't think so, but if so, I have not heard of it. Um, I think personally, because listening to the video, she made it seem as if he had no job, he had no ambition, no motivation. So I can understand from that aspect. But I think a person is, of course, allowed, if you work hard, you're providing, I think you do have the opportunity, of course, to lay if that's what you want to do. Um, yeah, I do believe, yes, I agree. And I think it was Sister Miriam said, get moving, those habits. Habits, of course, create consistency and it creates discipline. But I think, once in a while, yeah, let him lay. I don't think he needs to be on the move all the time, but yeah, I think especially if he's handling business. So, um, yeah,
So, well,
that's my 2 cents.
that's a great point, sister. That's a great point. Brother Quran, do you want to speak on this before we go to our next question, brother?
I don't think I have much to say. I would say I think it depends. I think a leader should lead in the way he wants his household to go. So if you want your household to be active, productive, getting things done, then I believe waking up the earliest, depending on your schedule, like Janae said, if you're working overnight, then obviously your schedule would be different, and that creates a different dynamic. But if you work in an average job, waking up the first, and honestly being that protector, you probably should be up the first. Because I was thinking earlier, like imagine you a single dad and you have kids. You probably want to be up before your kids because you need to be responsible over the people you're leading. I think it comes with I think it the responsibility aspect is why as a leader you should probably be up the first because you need to have oversight over what's happening over the people you're leading. So yeah, I would say in most scenarios, the leader should be up the first.
That's a great point. That's a great perspective. Great perspective. So okay, so then let me ask this. Okay, if a man sleeps in, does he lose leadership credibility? If a man sleeps in, right? Ponder that. Does he lose leadership credibility? Right. Really want we got sisters in here, so sisters could probably speak to this more than we as brothers. We can give our perspective, but what do you think here?
I don't think so. I think it just kind of depends on what's going on and how often is he doing this. Is this a every now and then thing? But if this is like all his free time is spent sleeping, that might become a problem. But I get it. People get tired. Like sometimes you're just tired. There's seasons of tiredness too, where you're just exhausted from all the things you've been doing. So I can understand that. I also think that, God gave us the Sabbath to rest. So I think there is some point that you do need to rest. So yes, I think that it's okay for men to rest. Not to say like you can't just never sleep, but yeah, but you have to set the tone for your family and you have to set the structure for your family. So this shouldn't be like all the time thing. I don't think so. Because that promotes laziness and then you're going to pass that down to your family because if you're the leader, the people who are following you do what you do, not what you say all the time necessarily. More so they're going to remember and especially kids. Kids remember what the parents do, not what they say. So if you're always sleeping in, that's what they know you for is always sleeping in, then they're going to think that that's okay. So and is
Okay.
work getting done? Are the responsibilities taken care of? Like that's kind of how I feel about it. So I wouldn't say that there's nothing wrong with sleeping in from time to time. Sleep in. You need some rest.
So you're saying he does, if this is consistent from a perception aspect, he does lose a little credibility. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, if it's
yeah.
consistent. Okay.
Consistently sleeping in, you're not getting things done. And that's gonna make the rest of the house not get things done. So you can't consistently be lazy. I get it. There's
Okay.
times where you're just tired, and that's okay.
Okay. That's a good point. Let me hear from Sister Miriam here. I want to hear her opinion on this. Sister, if a man sleeps in, does he lose leadership credibility? If this is not a one-time thing, but consistently, you're waking up before he is, does he lose leadership credibility?
Yes. If it's consistently, yes, because it's important if you're going to be a leader to lead. You set the tone for your family. Um, I'll start to lose a certain amount of respect, to be honest about it, um, because it just seems it start. If it was me, it would start to seem like I'm the leader. If I'm just
Hmm.
constantly, well,
Hmm.
getting up before uh, my man, and he's
Yeah.
just not being productive. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think then the roles kind of shifts at that point. And
Hmm.
yeah, it does depend on if he's working and already providing and things like that. But if it's
Right.
consistent, then
Yeah.
yeah, because I think you should have other hobbies. There's other things, like self enrichment at
Yeah.
the least. If he doesn't have hobbies or anything to keep himself on point, I should say, like,
Yeah.
sharp knowledge and things like that, then
Hmm.
yeah, I think you
That's a good
start to lose a little credibility there. Yeah.
That's a great point, sister. That's a well-rounded point there. Let's hear from someone else here. The question was, if a man sleeps in, does he begin to lose leadership credibility? What do you think? Let's get Nadia in here. Let's hear from our sister Nadia here. What's your opinion on this, sis? If a man sleeps in, if this is a repetitive thing, if this was a consistent thing, you're up before him, does he lose leadership credibility?
Um, that's a tough one for me because that goes along with my first answer. Like for me, I'm the type that I'm setting the alarm and I'm getting up first anyway to make sure you have breakfast, to make sure you have your lunch for work, to make sure you do everything. So that like it would be hard to lose your credibility because I'm already up anyway. I admittedly get to go back to bed when you get to go to work, but I've already gotten up and kind of got the household, set the household and tone for the day. Um, so that's just how I was in my marriage and everything. Um, for just a general look at it,
Yeah,
I think that a woman would start to lose some respect for a man that sleeps in every single day. I think, like Miriam says, Sister Miriam said that she would start feeling like she's the leader. Like
yeah,
she's, maybe even if you're not the provider, those are different things. Providing and leading are different. So,
yeah,
um, he can still be the provider, but if he's not the leader as well, it
yeah.
can cause some resentment and potentially cause problems in the relationship for sure.
That's a great perspective. So you said that, and when we come here, we know there's exceptions to the rule, but we're speaking mostly to the majority and not the minority. Sister Nadia says she concurs with Sister Miriam that she believes it could affect the level of respect and attractiveness almost to a man for a sister. So that's a great point. And so let me ask this then. Is the 5 a.m. man is he more attractive as a partner? Right. And what would you sisters think, right? The man who gets up early, right? Is that a more attractive quality than the brother who's getting up 10 o'clock, or does it matter at all?
Um, I think I would respect that, because the leader sets the tone. And even if I was not motivated, I would be inspired and motivated
Mm,
by his structure, his consistency, his discipline, so that would keep me straight, or keep me, keep
that's a
me in
good point.
line, because I want to follow his lead. So
That's a great
yeah,
point.
that's my
That's a great point.
thing.
So I would say that also that the thing about being a leader is that you're actively teaching. When you're leading, we're learning things from you as you lead us. So if someone is doing things like sleeping in and things like that, like what am I learning from you? You're teaching me to be lazy potentially, or teaching our children to be lazy, so therein lies another problem.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And what I always encourage brothers is to let them know that, your house is a classroom, right? And you're a teacher. And everything that you do, you're leading your wife and your children. They're learning from everything that you do. To always see themselves as leaders. And for men, I always encourage them, hey, model what you want to happen, right? You can't demand from a woman, right? You don't demand from your family. You model it. You actually model what you want to see. And it's all men are really shocked, because we thought mostly it's I tell you, I demand it, right? But that doesn't work, right? Model. Once you model, if I'm speaking to a brother who's going through premarital counseling or whatever the case is, model what you want her to do. And it's essentially what Sister Nadia is saying. And Miriam, they concur. that as a leader, you're gonna lead one way or another. So that's a great point there. Sister Danielle, what do you think about this? If a man sleeps in consistently, does he lose leadership credibility? Do you think?
Uh, hmm. I'm trying to think from I I don't think he'll necessarily I guess if it can be fixed
Mhm.
or if it can be worked on. I don't think he necessarily loses leadership um abilities, but I think if it kind of continues after we've had a discussion about it and then it
Mm,
continues, then I'll kind of start losing that respect. But and I also think how you spend, I don't necessarily think getting up early in the morning. I think it's how you spend, how you utilize your time.
I
Um,
see.
because are you getting up, drinking? Are you starting your day off with
Hmm.
a bottle in your hand?
Hmm.
But I actually wake up early to spend time, with the Most High. I know Christ, even reading the Bible, spent time
Right.
with the Most High early in the morning. And so,
Absolutely.
um, I truly believe it's how you spend your time throughout the day. That's very important. But
Mm,
I don't think necessarily waking up 5 a.m. as long as you get your
mm,
time in with the Most High. And again,
mhm,
I don't necessarily think, and it's sleeping in every once in a while, because again, we're trying to be productive, especially if we have children. Um,
mhm,
we want to set examples, put your best foot
mhm,
forward. But I don't think he necessarily loses for me, those leaderships. Again, if we talked about it and then it continued, then I would start
mhm.
to lose
That's a
the
great
respect.
point. So you say it's really not necessarily the time that you rise, but it's how the time is utilized once you are awakened. Is that right, sister?
I believe yes, yes.
Wow, that's a great perspective. That's a really, really good perspective here. Uh, Brother Kevin, jump in here, right? And as a man, what do you think here, right? A man who, if you were going to follow a man, let's say it was your dad, right? If a man sleeps and he's constantly sleeping in, do you say, you know what, that's a man I want to follow, or does it not matter at all? What do you think here?
Well, Sister Miles took the words out of my mouth that I was going to
Mhm.
say and imply in regards to Christ being one of the premier, if not the premier leader, um,
Yeah.
and by setting the example for his disciples to follow by getting up early and
Mhm.
modeling, as you said, the things that he wanted the disciples to,
Yeah.
you know, conform to. So uh, I believe that no, if a father is consistently just laying around and not, again, as Sister Miles said, not taking advantage of the hours within the day, um, then I definitely think something's wrong and not want to emulate those particular actions.
Mm. That's a great point there. That's a really, really good point here. Okay. What for those who haven't given their opinion on this particular the question was well we changed the question to do we believe or do you believe, do most people believe that a man who wakes up early, is that an attractive quality as far as it's in comparison to someone who, let's say, wakes up 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Is this a quality that's attractive? And, for men, it's, hey, I would follow this brother, I would follow this man. Or for sisters, hey, I would be willing to allow a man like this to court me, or I would be teaching my sons, my brothers, this is the way to go. So is the 5 a.m. man, quote unquote 5 a.m., the early riser, is he a more attractive partner?
Yes. Yes. That's just an easy way to put that. Yes. Because that means that you have something to do. And all women love men who have something to do. If you have no drive, no motivation, you have bum behavior, which means that you want me to do everything, then that is not attractive at all. Get up. And I don't want to have to tell you to get up. Like your husband is supposed to be your leader, not me being your mother, which a mother is a leader. I don't want to be a leader in that aspect with my husband. I want to be I want to be the princess. And there's nothing wrong with being that. I like being told what to do sometimes. I like being given direction. I need it because sometimes I don't make the best decisions. So I need a leader to lead me right, and someone who sleeps all day has a different mentality. Because to me, it's not necessary. Like Sister Miles hit it right on the head. It's what you're doing with that time. So not necessarily are you getting up bright and early before the sun gets up. Because some people just get up to say, "Oh, I get up at 5 a.m." I don't need that type of person. I need the type of person that gets up and has something to do, promote structure. That's what we need as women is structure. So that is very important. And if you are laying there, not because you just got off work at, 2 a.m. or you just got off work at 7 a.m. and you're just there doing nothing, then I'm not going to feel motivated to do anything either. So like, and then we're going to
Great
have
point.
a house of chaos. So I think it's irritating to me, number one, for a man to be sleeping all day. Just like for me personally, this is just me personally. I get irritated when I see grown men playing video games. It's the same with the grown man sleeping past noon. That irritates me. If you did
Mhm.
not work the night shift, you do not need to be sleeping past noon.
Mhm.
That's just my own opinion. It's not recommended, but I don't like it. It's irritating.
Okay, that's a great point. So you said definitely early men who wake up early are that it is a more attractive quality for women. Okay.
Yeah.
Who else has an opinion on that? Is this a more attractive quality for men waking up early, or does it not matter at all? Because for some people they may say, "Hey, it doesn't matter to me at all," or I could follow this type of man. While you all think, I would say I do believe the man should be up earlier. Um, for me, I wake my wife up to pray. So early in the morning before the sun comes up. So I think at least, even if you're going to lay down, I think the man should be up and particularly making sure the house is okay as the protector. Um, you know, for me, I it's hard for me to like sleep completely because I'm always, worried about the boys or my wife, like, so I'm never really in a deep sleep. I believe in doing what Christ did, which is to wake up early in the morning and spend some time with God, even if it's not a long time, just acknowledging him as our Father in the morning. I think all men should do that. And I think it will train the women that follow them to be disciplined in their relationship with the Most High God. So, absolutely, I believe the man needs to be up. And you'll see those little themes where, it's like, what did they call memes? I'm sorry, where they have like, hey, the when the woman is sleeping, the man is up, he's gently walking around and it's so quiet. But then when he's asleep and the woman is up, she's going on about her day, vacuuming, music is up, all types of stuff is going on. And I think naturally, probably something in a woman. And even though it's satire, I think there's some truth to it because I think as the man, women see that as a role that, hey, if I'm more disciplined than you because I'm up, I think it is an unattractive quality in my perspective. I think women, sisters would be more attracted to the discipline. Really, it's not about the getting up early. I think it's more about the discipline that it requires to get up early, which is to say, you know what? I tell my body what to do. My body doesn't tell me what to do. And I always tell brothers, I believe that is the most attractive quality a man can have in the eyes of a woman is discipline. To know he is disciplined, as Janae said, with the structure. So absolutely, absolutely. Did anyone want to have say on this before we go to our next topic here? Brother Karan, what do you think before I go forward?
Um, I would say the most attractive thing is how you structure your life wholly. I don't think, like you said, the discipline factor of waking up early is way more important than the fact that you're waking up early. Like Sister Danielle said, if you're waking up early to drink, or let's say I wake up early because I want to watch porn or play video games, like what is waking up early? What are you doing with your time? Like you could be up
Mm.
for 18 hours of the day doing remotely nothing, you know?
Mhm.
And I think you
Mhm.
should live in the way that most optimally serve the most high.
Mm.
So whichever way you want to structure your household and whichever is the most optimal for getting things done is the way you should live your life.
That's a great point. That's a really good point from a young brother, wise beyond your years, brother. Okay, so we're gonna leave this. We're gonna put this to bed. We're gonna land this plane here, brothers and sisters. Okay, we're gonna stay on the topic of men. Okay, I want you to take a look at this video and tell me what you think, brothers and sisters.
If a man cries in front of me, say like he's having a horrible day and we go on a date, and he cries and starts complaining about all the horrible things that happened in his day and this and that, that's gonna turn me off. I can say I'm the most empathetic person in the world. that's gonna turn that's gonna turn me off.
Okay, so brothers and sisters, you heard what the sister had to say. Let's talk about that, right? If a man cries or shows weakness, does his partner's perception of his strength permanently change, even if she says she wants him to be open, right? And let me ask that again. If a man cries or he shows weakness, does his partner's perception of his strength change permanently, even if she says, I want him to be open, I want him to be vulnerable? What do you think here, brothers and sisters? What's your opinion on this? Right? That you heard what the sister said. She's totally, as she says, turned off by a man who vents. What do you think?
I think
Um,
it. Oh,
so I'll wait.
I think it depends on what he's venting about. Um, and then also the other part of your question was, is it permanently changed? Is your opinion or
Mhm.
the views of him permanently changed? I don't know if it's permanent. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to think more on that one. But depending on what he's venting about or crying about, I think it can potentially be a turnoff. Um, mm, um, he, you know, that's a slippery slope there. Honestly, it's a slippery
Mhm.
slope.
Tell us about it, sister.
Because as a woman, in my opinion, as a woman, I do want my significant other to be vulnerable with me and to be able to share their emotions and their feelings with me. But I do not want to feel like I'm the one always coddling and comforting you.
Mm,
I don't want to feel
right.
like I have to walk on eggshells because of you're so emotional. Because that's really what women do. Women are the emotional beings. And so when men take over that role and become super emotional beings, it is kind of difficult to deal with
Mm,
or difficult to respect, should I say.
yeah. Wow, that's great, sister. That's a great perspective. I think, wow, that's nuance there. That's a great, wow, that's really good there. Brothers and sisters, the question is, if a man cries or shows weakness, does his partner's perception change permanently? Even if she says, hey, I want you to be open with me. What do you think here, brothers and sisters? Let's hear from a man. Let's go to Brother Kevin. What do you think here, brother? If a man cries or shows weakness in front of his partner, does her perception change permanently about, how she sees this man?
I would say that depends on the woman um, and the nature of their particular relationship. Um, I I think the sister said something too in her video in regards to um, if the man's complaining about his day. Um, I think some people can interpret complaint um, or venting with complaint, excuse me. And maybe he's wanting to get some things out that he had because we know that a lot of women will come home and they'll definitely vent. And a man's expected just to sit there and patiently, yeah, okay. So um, I think the dynamics of that particular relationship um, would have to determine if she will ultimately lose respect or, think he's a beta or simp or whatever we call it these days. But definitely just breaking down and crying and boo-hooing for no apparent reason. Um, I think something's wrong. So,
So are you
yeah.
saying, brother, just to um just to make sure we're clear, are you saying, brother, that and obviously, like you said, there's exceptions to the rule, but are you saying that you believe predominantly it would change how a woman sees a man and not in a great way? Oh,
Overall, I think it would. But again, the nature of the relationship determines if he's actually crying based off of something that transpired and
mhm,
or complaining, or venting rather. Um, so I think, yeah, I think a woman wants a strong man who knows how to regulate his emotions
mhm,
effectively and control that. But at the same time, um, a lot of people don't, especially a lot of women don't always understand the nature of the burden that and pressure that men are under. So, you know, there's some men who know how to, like I said, regulate those emotions better than others, and some would be, um, you know, we know also that a lot of men have been raised by women, so they have haven't, I guess, learned how to regulate those emotions or develop that emotional intelligence. So sometimes they could react or respond in emotional manners. So um, ultimately, overall, I do believe that a woman could lose respect of a man. But again, the nature depends on what he's venting about or what he's crying about. So,
right. That's a great point. So, Brother Kevin says, hey, the topic, what the motive behind the weeping, um, he says he believes determines whether or not this sister loses a little. She doesn't want to submit as much as she possibly could have before. That's that's a great point here. And the question was, I'm going to get some of you other brothers and sisters in here. If a woman cry, excuse me, if a man cries and he shows weakness, does his partner's perception of his strength permanently change, even if she says she wants him to be open? Does this change her perspective on his strength, how strong he is? What do you think? Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I don't think crying is a weakness. I think it's actually showing strength. And you never want to, I would feel closer to my husband for that. I mean, as long as it's not his all time go to, as far as with crying, I think venting is healthy. I think crying is healthy because those are natural emotions that we all have, and then it shows me that you know, he
Mhm,
trusts me enough to cry in front of me
mhm,
because I think generally in society it's just looked upon as weak. You're weak, you're a
mhm,
sap, you're a
mhm,
punk. Whereas I actually look at that as a strength as long as it's productive, meaning that once you vent and cry, there's a solution or there's
mhm,
progress or, just knowing that, you can just cry and move on. But if you
mhm,
just stay there in that and do it consistently, then yeah, I would
mhm.
kind of look like, damn, like,
Mhm.
but it's okay to vent. It's okay to cry sometimes. It's okay. And I think that would actually create a stronger bond, and
Mm.
also I want to be that rest for him too. So with the emotional support,
Mhm.
I think that that's something that, I should be, supporting emotionally, So that's
That's a great
that's what I
point.
have to say on that.
So you said that the vulnerability actually you believe would draw you closer. That's an interesting perspective. Let's get Sister Nadia in here, please.
I was just going to say, after listening to Sister Miriam speak,
Yeah.
as women, we do have to be very careful about how we react to that because it is not easy to be vulnerable with someone and to let your guard down around someone. So if we react like the young lady speaking on the video and we're like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
turned off, or no, I don't like that,
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
that man is never going to want to be vulnerable with us again. So
Mhm.
even if it's something that might make us uncomfortable, we have to
Yeah.
be very, very careful about how we react to it because we can potentially tear that man down too.
Mm. Wow. That's a great point, sister. That's a great point. You said sisters have to consider how they respond to a man being vulnerable in that way. Wow. That's a great point. Janae, jump in here, please.
So your question exactly was what again? Say
If
that.
if if a man cries and shows weakness in front of his partner, does her perception of his strength change permanently? Even if she says, "Hey, I want a man that's going to be vulnerable with me and open."
Um, for me, because I can speak for me, and then I'll kind of speak generally. No, I wholeheartedly agree with Sister Miriam. I think it's important that you do cry personally, because if especially if you're in a long term relationship, things are gonna happen. People are gonna die. Bad things are gonna happen, and if you just hold all that in,
Yeah.
that can create a sickness. And if you don't cry, that's kind of weird. Like people's, die. Like I'm saying, like your grandma died, and you just like my grandma died. I'm gonna think
Yeah.
you're a psychopath. Like I'm scared because if this is
Mhm.
somebody you care about, like you need to let those tears out. And like Sister Miriam said, like that's gonna make me feel like you can trust me. You trust me because like she said, like
Mhm.
society says if men cry, they're weak. And I don't really think that either. Like, of course, I don't want you crying all the time. Every time you like do some push ups, you know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't be crying every 5 seconds or about every little thing. But if there's something that is deeply affecting you because you are a human being, then yeah, you're going to have emotions and you should be able to release those emotions. I'm not marrying a robot. I'm marrying a person who has flesh, who has emotions, who gets mad, who gets angry, and all that. But you shouldn't cry like a woman cries. Like we cry about everything. I think I've said this before. We cry all the time, like over stupid stuff. And it's just how we react. So I don't think a man should cry like that and like on a daily basis. Yeah, if you crying all the time about everything, then yes, I'm definitely gonna be like, I gotta get out of here. I
Okay.
couldn't live with somebody crying all the time. But if it's just occasional tears, then yeah, and
Mm.
it also depends on that if boohoo crying and stuff. Like, can I be like, can I hold you a tissue? Because I'm not really, even though I cry, I'm not good with tears. So I don't know how I would kind of react to that. If you crying like that, I'd be like, oh my God, what do I do? So I'll probably start panicking and that probably wouldn't be good. But I do want, I do think that men should cry from time to time. You'll feel better. Take it from a crier. When you cry from time to time, it feels better. You release
That's
a
a
lot
good
of
point.
things.
That's a good point. So Janae says she believes it's okay. Depends on how heavy the cry is, it sounds like. So that's a good point. That's a good point that she's bringing up. Let's hear from Brother Quran. Jump in here, brother. If a man cries or shows weakness, does his partner's perception of his strength change permanently? Even if she says, "Hey, I want my man to be open. I want him to be vulnerable." What do you think? Does it change her perception of his strength?
Um, Generally, I would say probably not permanently, but it depends on the frequency of the crying and why he is crying. Because it can show you're not resilient. You're not emotion. You don't have no emotional control. You cry over every little thing, and you're supposed to be the one leading the relationship. And your wife needs to rely on you for things. And if you're crying over small things like, "Oh, I had a bad day, so I'm gonna go and cry, go home and cry to my wife," like I think your wife is gonna lose respect for you over time because where's your backbone? You're crying because, oh, my tire popped and I
Mhm.
had to walk in the rain and go home and cry to my wife. Like, it has to be something deeper. Like,
Mhm.
say my friend died. Like, I don't know. I just think like men shouldn't like cry super often. Like, I know it probably helps, but like, you need some resilience. You need backbone. You need strength. You know,
Yeah.
and I think I could say it probably could be a show of strength, but to me, it depends on what you're crying about. To me, like, I'm saying, you're my brother. I need you, especially. I would honestly prefer for a brother to go to a brother and cry to me before you cry to your wife, so I can help you and tell you some advice so you can be strong in front of your wife. You know, because you got to be the leader in that relationship, and you need to be the one who has that show of strength, um, especially to your kids too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I believe she
Mhm.
probably the first time it happens, I don't believe she'll lose respect instantly, depending on what it is. But over time, depending on the topic, she's probably gonna think this is a weak dude, and he cries over all the small things, or he cried. This man's been crying almost every day this week, depending on what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
heartless dude. Somebody died, somebody close to you. Like, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna be. It's gonna be hard to control your emotions over that. You might just bust out crying because you're thinking on these memories. But for a lot of things, I don't think a man should cry over it. Don't cry over spilled
Yeah.
milk.
That's a great perspective there. That's a really good perspective, brother. Very fascinating. Let's get Sister Danielle in here. Sister, if a man cries or shows weakness in front of his partner, does her perception of his strength change permanently? Even if she says, "Yeah, I want a man to be open and you know be vulnerable." What do you think, sister? You know women. You're a woman. You have a bunch of women in your life. What do you think?
I think for some women, yes. Case in point, the young lady in the video. I think with her, it probably has permanently changed.
Hmm.
But for me, no. To me, I would want to see my husband cry because to me, I think there's a level of vulnerability that we've kind of passed. And to me, it just shows that you're willing to trust me, especially if you're able to confide in me as well. Now, I agree with everybody on the panel that you shouldn't be crying just for anything every 5 minutes. Hey, my shoes got scuffed. Yeah, you're gonna
Hmm.
miss me with that. You're gonna lose me with that one. But
Hmm.
but it depends. There's levels to why you cry. But for me, I don't think he necessarily in fact there's power. I think Sister Miriam touched on that. Like actually crying shows just a level there's power in that. But I feel like we've conditioned young boys to from young, you tell them to suck it on up, and
Yeah.
I think also because I had a brother growing up, and so hearing, my uncles, hearing my cousins talk, mention things. Oh, don't cry. You all right. You a boy. And then, of
Mhm.
course, there's young girls, siblings looking at this, and they're probably processing this as well. And so, they grow up where the men are not, they kind of are, as Sister Janae said, robots, where they don't have any emotions. They're scared to cry or they feel weak if they do. And then you have siblings or women coming up as well thinking that is a weakness as well if they cry. If they see a man cry, then they deem it as weakness.
Good point. That's a great point, sister. That's a great point. Wow, great point. Okay, then so let me ask this. Let me ask this. Do women want a man who shares his fears and insecurities in the moment, or do women prefer men who process their emotions internally and present a solved version of the problem? Let me ask that one more time. Excuse me. Do women want a man who shares his fears and insecurities in the moment openly? Or do women want men who process their emotions internally and present a solved version of that problem?
Shalom.
Shalom.
I'm fine with him sharing that in the moment. Um, as long as he can come back with a softer, like a solution, or just it doesn't always have to be a solution, because it could be something that he can't necessarily solve, but just had a reaction to it. So yeah, that's just, I don't, what was the question?
So the
What was the
question
second part of
was,
the question?
yeah. So, do women want a man who shares his fears and insecurities openly or in the moment? Or do women prefer men who process their emotions internally and present a solved version of that problem?
Oh yeah. I guess it depends too on what the issue is, you know. So that can kind of be like, it just depends.
Yeah,
But it's okay to be vulnerable again. Like, I want to know how he thinks, or what he's crying about.
yeah,
Because I could probably offer some sound,
yeah.
solutions to it, or just be there, or have suggestions for it, because
Hmm.
I think iron sharpens iron. And because he's supposed to be my friend too, I want to be there for my friend and help uplift him, in that moment as well. So that's
That's a great
my
point.
response. Yeah.
That's a great point, sister. Oh, jump in here, Janae.
Um, I think yes and no. Like, no, I don't want to see you overly like emotional and going crazy and all over the place. I don't think any man should be all over the place because that's kind of like a double-minded man. Like, you do kind of need to think that out and process that. And when you say in the open, are you saying just between us or in front of others? If
Well,
there's a
really, in that moment, right? In that moment.
Well, if
So,
that moment is with others, no, I don't want to see him lose control of his emotions in front of others and start crying and stuff because I don't know like how to deal with that. Like, how am I gonna call me like, hey man, you need to be quiet. You can't be crying like this in public. I mean, I'm sure you don't want me to be like, no. You know what I mean? So that might be a little awkward. Um, but I think like you can talk to me rationally in the moment, then yes, for sure. But I don't want you doing that in front of others. We can do that at home. And and I'm a pretty good counselor. So you ask me, I might have some good solutions. So go ahead and tell me I might have some encouragement. I'm definitely gonna have some encouragement for you. I'm definitely gonna be empathetic and I'm definitely gonna give you some solutions. I be thinking of stuff. My mom was a problem solver, so she passed that tool on down to me. So let's solve the problems. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let it out. Let that steam off. Because I don't want you to internalize that. Excuse me, y'all, and then maybe become a psychopath serial killer out here killing people because you didn't internalize all your anger and frustration, and now you just got no emotions and you become a sociopath. So we
mm,
might need to talk this out. So but I should learn this in the courting phase if you're like this, because I definitely don't want this to like pop off after the courting phase, and then you out here wilding out. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, that's gonna be a lot. So,
that's a great point. That's a great point. Let's get Sister Nadia back in here. What do you think on this, sis?
Can you ask the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely, sister. The question is, do women want a man who shares his fears and insecurities in the moment, or do they prefer a man that processes his emotions internally and then presents a solved version of that problem?
Um, I don't know if necessarily presenting a solved version, but a more tame version, maybe we can say. So I mean, some things will come out in the moment, but sitting down and thinking it through and internalizing it and, coming with, a more calm conversation rather than a sporadic, I'm scared of this. You don't even know. I don't like it's different. And then on that subject, I think it's very, very careful. We should be very, very careful when we're speaking on our fears and things like that, because remember, the enemy cannot read our mind. So he only knows those are our fears if we speak on them. And so that doesn't mean, hide things from each other or anything like that. But you have to be very careful about how you say things because the enemy will play on it.
Hmm. That's a great point. That's a really good point. The power of words, Proverbs 18. That's a great, great point. Um, I would say I would suggest to brothers, if it was my brother, I would suggest, sometimes a brother may feel like he needs to cry. I think it would be a safer place to cry with a brother who can understand. I think it puts a woman in a difficult position because she wants to be empathetic, but she also wants to believe that you have an answer. That's what makes you the leader. So I think, every woman, I don't think there's a woman alive who would say, no, I don't want him to cry. I want him to be vulnerable, but the thing about sisters is that, they're honest in the moment, but women speak what they feel. So they'll feel, obviously there's women on this call, you feel one way today, feel another way tomorrow. So I tell brothers, it's not that women are dishonest because brothers think women are dishonest. Of course, there's are some, but most importantly, sisters will speak how they're feeling in that moment. In 2 months from now, they're not feeling that way. They're feeling a different way. So even though sister will say, "Hey, I want my man to be vulnerable," I think it will forever change. When if a man that you've never seen cry, and view weak like that, I think that will stay in a sister's mind, and it'll come back up when things are good. Things will be good, but I believe it will come to a sister's mind that he doesn't have the emotional control. Right in the moment is yeah, he trusts me, but later on, when it comes to the level of submission, right? Can a sister submit to the leadership of a man who's emotionally expressive? Janae, jump in here.
I'm gonna have to say, for me, I'm pretty honest, so that's how I feel for real. I'm not gonna say today that, oh yeah, I want you to cry, and then tomorrow when you cry, but oh my God, he cried. Like, no. I know some people are like that and they kind of just go with that, but for me, like, no, I think that it's good that you cry. Like I said, I think it's good to cry sometimes. It's good to have an ugly cry, especially with all the things that life beat you up, especially as a black man. Y'all go through so much that we don't even know about. And I can't imagine like being a black man and all the things that y'all go through. I'd cry all the time. I'd be one of them guys crying all the time in public. So I definitely think that it's okay to cry. Like, please
Hmm.
cry. Uh, just on a, like I said, like daily basis, living life is a challenge and is something like the equivalent to what they call them adrenaline junkies. Let's go jump out of
Hmm.
planes and off bungee cords. That's a black man's life. So I think that for sure I would want you to cry. But like I said, not all the time. Like I don't want you crying all the time. Let's get that straight. Like I don't want no crybaby because then I'm gonna be like, oh, he's a crybaby, he a punk. I don't want to ever say that about the person that I'm married to and laying down with and having children with. Like, oh my God, here you go crying again. Like that should never happen. So, like, I think there's a healthy dose of crying, I guess we could say. So, yeah, share your tears, share your fears. That's what we're here for. Like your sister Miriam said, you're supposed to be my best
Hmm.
friend. I should be able to tell you anything, and you should be, and vice versa. And you should be able to trust me with that. If I'm your best friend, you should trust your best friend to hold your secrets, right? And that's how I feel about that.
Can I add something though? Um, I know that, we're supposed to be giving our honest opinions and everything. And I just wanted to add because, as I'm looking at Micah 7:5, does that apply to this particular situation? If you know what Micah 7
You
and
want to
5
read it to us, sister?
um it just says, trust ye not in a friend, put ye not confidence in a guide, keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom, which is like pillow talking and things. So I'm wondering, you know, should you? I mean, like, I guess there's degrees to it in different levels. I don't,
Yeah.
so I'm not
Yeah.
sure
I,
about that.
I do believe, sister, and of course, like you said, there's exceptions to the rule. I think if somebody dies, that it wouldn't affect a woman. But I think just how women naturally are made, that in that moment, if a sister's emotional, she's seeing him, she's loving his vulnerability. But I think as time goes, that it will stay in her mind. To the man should typically be the one to help the sister, when she's being overly emotional, to comfort her. And then to see the man that's supposed to be there to comfort you, in a place where um he's very emotional and can't find, quote unquote, the answer. I think it will come back up later on, because I think she can't have the full trust. Like, I think sisters see their men that they submit to as Superman, right? That he can do everything. Yes, he's wrong. Superman's wrong, but I think a lot of sisters, they admire that. And they believe, hey, we can make it through anything. We can get through anything if I have this man whom I trust. And then that illusion it's gone. That illusion is gone when that happens. So I would have to concur and agree that it's probably not the wisest thing to do. And of course, this is not speaking that every sister will hold this against a brother. We're just speaking general, like as a rule of thumb. I do believe it would affect how sisters see men. Did anyone want to give their final say on this before we put it to bed? Okay, all right, excellent, excellent. All right, now we have something salacious. Okay, take a look at this next video and give me your opinion.
So now that she's admitted that she wanted to be married. Can she propose to that man?
Propose to that nigga.
No, hell no.
Oh my God. Stephon, why can't she propose?
Hell no. Okay, listen. I'm not saying, I've seen some situations that I felt it was understandable. But in the vast majority of cases, when a woman proposes because deep inside she knows this man ain't never gonna do it, all right?
Yeah.
And she's trying to control the situation. Not to mention, I've had men, because you gotta remember, I coach people. I've had men tell me the only reason why they're married is because they were too afraid to say no.
Dude.
A lot of men don't know how to reject a woman in that moment. And so they go along with it, but they're not happy. You don't want to be the woman that has to trap a man or force a man to marry you. It is, if he's serious about it, he'll do it. If he doesn't do it,
All right now, brothers and sisters, you saw it. Is a female proposal a sign of courage and empowerment, or a desperate attempt to bypass his hesitation? Janae, jump in here.
I think it's desperate, number one, because men know fairly quickly if they want to be with the woman that they're with. And if that's the woman that they see as a wife, they know that pretty quickly. And for me, I'm not, I'll take it back. I wouldn't say it's necessarily desperate. I guess that's not the right word, but I would just say that that's going to set up the tone for your marriage. You're going to be submitting to what? Because now her getting on her knees, number one, a girl shouldn't be on her knees on the dirt. And for him to allow that says a lot about that man, that you're allowing that woman to get down on one knee. And I think the guy in the video was saying that the men don't know how to say no. And I think that's very true. A lot of times men don't know how to say no to women. And they get in these different circumstances because they don't know how to basically hurt a woman's feelings because we don't take no very well. Um, I think so when somebody says no to a woman in that type of situation rather, then it can be kind of heartbreaking and life shattering, right? If she really wants this. So men don't typically just want to hurt women. I don't think, I mean, of course, there's people out there that do, but I don't think men in general want to do that. So I don't think the right word is desperate. I'm just not sure what word it is, but I don't think women should do that. Absolutely not, because he's either going to marry you or he's not. And now you're forcing something, and that's not going to last. And if he doesn't want to marry you, then you're wasting your time, because that's the whole point of being in the relationship in the first place is to get married. Well, at least I would hope that's what people are getting in relationships for, is to get married and not for other things. So yeah, for me personally, I would say that's not a good look, and it's not gonna be, probably won't last.
Okay. Okay, that's a great point. Great point. Great nuance there. Janae says she doesn't believe it will last. It'll be a long relationship. Let's get Sister Nadia in here. I see you, Sister.
So I'm actually quite passionate about this topic. I've been talking about it a lot lately with people. Janae, I think the word is desperate. I think that it takes a certain amount of desperation to even want to lower yourself to that, to getting on your knees, to humiliating yourself, essentially. I think that is the man's role. That can go back to what we were talking about, the leaders. So if you're getting on your knee and you're taking this relationship by the reins from the beginning, is this what we're supposed to expect through the whole relationship? Are you now wearing the pants? You're now in charge? Because the Bible tells us that a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, not a woman that finds a husband. We're not told to go out there and find us a man. We're told that he will come find us. So yeah, I absolutely cannot get behind that at all. I think it's desperation. And I think that women need to really take several seats before they even go try that.
So are you saying, Sister Nadia, you had secondhand embarrassment watching that sister propose to that man?
I've seen it in person, face to face, and it absolutely secondhand embarrassment. Even hearing the whispers of other people, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she would actually do that. It's absolutely not okay. It's not okay.
That's a great point, sister. Very, very passionate about that. Let's get brother Kevin in here. What do you think on this, brother?
Well, just like the little person said before me, I think it is a. I think it is a desperation call, and not just desperation, but I also believe it's a deception of the devil in the times that we live in, because as the little person said, we live in a time where a lot of roles are reversed, and a lot of women are buying into this feministic mentality where they can do whatever a man should do or could do, they believe. And as scripture tells us in Proverbs, that it's a man who finds a wife, and so I do believe it's part desperation, but also part deception, that's being pulled down over the eyes of these sisters who feel that Well, if a man can do it, we're living in modern times. A woman should have the
Yeah.
option and ability to do likewise. And quite frankly, I would be
Mhm.
embarrassed as a man if I had a woman get down on her knees in front of me and propose
Mm,
to me.
wow. That is a great point. That is a great point because many people would have said in this feminist era, hey, the man proposing is part of the patriarchy, as they would say. But you all disagree that this is not about patriarchy. This is about right and wrong, in the following the leadership of a man. So that's a great point. Let's hear from Sister Miriam. What are you thinking on this, sister? If is a female proposal a sign of courage and empowerment, or is it a desperate attempt to bypass this man's hesitation?
I agree with the panel. I really believe that it's desperation. Is you're thirsty, and you should have a seat. Because I think that if a man wanted to marry you, he would.
Mm,
Um, and it's just yeah, it's really a feministic thing to do. Like, why are
mm,
you on your knees? Like,
mm.
just like the Bible says, when you find a wife, you find a good thing.
Yeah,
The key word is when he finds you, not you find him.
right.
And it just kind of speaks to, to me, I'm like, if he wanted to marry her, maybe she felt it just seems like there's something wrong with their communication in
Mhm,
their courtship or whatever you want to call it.
mhm,
Maybe, I would think that if he hasn't I would wonder how long they've been dating,
mhm.
because if he hasn't asked you to marry him, then maybe
Yeah.
he's just trying to say yes, but he doesn't really want to,
Mm,
because he would have already proposed. And then not only that, maybe he just wants it to remain just because whatever he's getting, I think they're playing house, like,
mhm,
and maybe she's tired of playing house and want to be
mhm.
serious. But I really believe that if he was serious about her, then he would have proposed to her.
Wow.
But then again, I don't know how long they've been dating, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think that the roles has been reversed because we're living in the last days.
yeah.
That's my thing.
So Sister Miriam says she believed this is out of order. It's completely out of order, upside down. It's a paradox, that society and where we are in society, culture, pop culture, popular culture has made this, something that is more common than ever before. That's a fascinating take, sister. It's a very fascinating take. Let's hear Sister Danielle's opinion on this. Should a woman propose to a man?
No, no.
No.
Short answer, no. Um, yeah, it looks cringy to me. It yeah, it's just it's cringy. I didn't even I think maybe I was exposed to this a few years back and I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing."
Mm,
But brother Kevin kind of touched a little bit on it because the first word I thought about, like, this is what equality looks like.
mm, yeah,
Um
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't think in any way, shape, or form a woman should
Mhm,
ever be proposing. I think,
yeah.
just if he's not proposing, I guess in a time frame, if maybe it should be a conversation had on that,
Mhm,
just to see where his head is. And if not, then if marriage is the goal for you, then of course that's what it should be. And if he's not willing to give that, then I'm I don't mean to be so frank or just kind of uh
mhm,
just upfront about it, but then leave, if you're not
mm,
getting what you want, if marriage is the end goal for you, then that's what it should be. And it shouldn't be a non-negotiable.
mm. So Sister Danielle says, in no way should a woman propose to a man. It's totally out of order. It's desperate, as the panel is saying.
Agree.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that's a great point. I see someone there. Not sure who's got the hand up. Who join in here? Whoever that is. They're on mute with the Samsung.
Hello there. My name is Vahola, and I apologize for coming late. I woke up from a bad case of fooditis. I'll be quite honest. But
Oh,
I
Bahala. Hello, sister.
my apologies. But I also too wanted to second that. I do think that a woman asking a man for marriage is quite desperate, and if you feel the need to ask him, uh, I don't. And he's not asking you. This is
Hmm.
it's fair.
Wow.
You shouldn't be doing that.
So you say Valhalla, you say desperation.
Yeah, and it's just
Okay.
out of order. It's not right. You should be
Hmm.
letting him ask that when he's ready, if he wants to, let him. And if, it's a certain amount of time and he doesn't do it, then, you know, um, but I don't agree with women asking men to get married. I just never did,
Hmm.
even as a kid. I never understood why I did grow up in a Christian background home as in a Haitian household. We grew up Baptist. So I think a lot of that comes from it, but it just never whenever I see it, I just,
Hmm.
whoa, not a good idea.
Wow, that's a great point, sister. That's a great point. She said it's not number one, it's not biblical. Coming from a Christian background, a Haitian background, this is something that's more modern,
Yeah,
not traditional. Great point,
moderately
sister.
bad.
Great point. So let us ask this question then. Does a woman who proposes lose her feminine power?
I think so, yes.
Well, Allah says she believes so.
Yes.
She's
Oh, sorry, I just jumped in. But
okay.
yes, like how you want to be the man. That's why you're trying to control everything. So yes, you would definitely lose femininity. Like everybody's saying that's a feminist. There's a difference
Mm,
between a feminist and feminine. And she want to be a
mm,
feminist because you want to control everything. That man,
mm,
I'm just gonna say this. That man don't want you. So like it's time to move on. A man
mm,
will know, he knows really quickly, like this is the wife, this is the one that I want to marry. Very quickly. And so if he has not proposed to you, I would say even within that first year or even
mm,
mentioned marriage to you, he don't want to marry you. And you giving him everything he want, like Sister Miriam said, you're already playing house, giving him everything he want. Why do I gotta take the next step for that? I don't need to do that.
mhm,
You gave me everything I want. And what's the point of that? And then that's an immature man because you playing house, but you don't want to take the step up to be the head of the house because you're still out doing whatever you want to do. It's being immature. So
mm.
absolutely, she loses that. Absolutely.
Great point. That's a really good point there. Jump in here, sister. I see you, Sister Valhalla.
Hey there, Janae. I just want to thank you for clarifying like how long you think, because that's something I've always wondered. I've heard people say, "Oh, if after 2 years they don't ask you for marriage, go ahead and leave," and definitely. But then I'm like, okay, if you've been through something for 2 years and two and a half, and it's like, okay, I need time to myself. But when I get back out there, when is the appropriate allotted amount of time to allow someone to court you? When you once you choose that you no longer want to do the
Mhm.
whole dating thing, you just want to take things seriously and only courtship when the time is ready. But how long? What's appropriate? And you said a year, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, and it's not too long, but not too
Yeah,
soon. But I wanted to hear everybody else's suggestion too.
yeah. That's a good
Anybody
point,
have any good
sister.
one?
Instead of
This,
like a
yeah,
year and him knowing, and or at least asking you or bringing up the thought of marriage, there should be at least within that first year, you should be talking about that because that's the whole point of being in a relationship
mm,
and dating and stuff is not to play house. The end goal is to get married. So if you don't know that you want to marry me in a year, then you just playing around.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can talk about the engagement and then what goes on from that piece.
It's a good point.
Okay.
I would say, I'm gonna get Brother Kevin in here. I would say at least get all four seasons because, in the wintertime, she or he may be somebody different than he is in the summertime. So I say at least get the four seasons, and they call it dating in the world, but really it's courting and courting to marry, or what they would call dating to marry. I think should expect, that should be the direction, I would think. Let's get Brother Kevin in here. What are you thinking about what we're talking about, brother?
I believe ultimately there's a lot of sisters who Well, first and foremost, I believe there's a lot of brothers who are stringing along a lot of sisters because they're just saying, why would you buy the cow if you're getting the milk for free? And
Yeah.
quite frankly, um, I believe that a lot of brothers are stringing sisters along. So sometimes, out of the good nature of the sister's heart and the desperation, she may not be acting out of a feministic standpoint. She might genuinely love the brother and want to, in her opinion, coach him along or edge him along and try to help him get to that finish line,
Mhm.
not realizing that that's not her job. Um, and if she doesn't recognize within, like I agree with the Four Seasons, that that man's not going to do that, then I think she's got to go ahead uh, and find greener pastures. Ultimately, I think um, if a man's dragging his feet, I believe a woman should make some type of some guidelines of what she expects. And I think sometimes a lot of sisters aren't doing that. They're going along hoping that this man will make his mind up, but there's a lot of, again, emotionally devoid men who aren't um, leading effectively and aren't leading with the right intentions, purposeful intentions. So therefore, I believe that if the man's not doing what he's supposed to do in that aspect, I think a sister needs to say, "Look, I didn't get into this to, you know, play house or this or that. Either let me go or um, make a decision." But and then I've seen sisters do that, and then the man's like, "Well, if you're going to put constraints on me, then I'm going to go." Well, then therefore he should go then because she wouldn't have had to put constraints on you if you weren't dragging your feet. So um, I think ultimately, yeah, it's in the times we're living in, it's a very sad time, but at the same time, it's a glorious time for those who realize what's next to come.
That's a great point, brother. Wow. Wow. I mean, that's just well rounded. Sister Vahola, jump in here.
Hello there. So I was just thinking to myself and everything that I know, okay, well, based on what I've seen or whatever, I noticed that when I do
Mhm.
see men dragging their feet like that, and then I've experienced some things myself in life, but I noticed that usually it's a woman, like you said, wanting to care for them and all this other stuff, but you guys are definitely right with that time frame. And I think it's important that we women do learn how to spot good signs and good, markers of quality in a person to help avoid going down that path. Because then once you can see certain things, you can tell certain things early on, it just makes things easier. So you don't have to go down that route. I'm realizing, oh,
Yeah.
that's how the good quality people are staying away from the
Uh,
weirdos. Oh, you
I
just
see.
you filter them out.
Absolutely. That's a great point, sister. That's a really, really good point there. Let's brother Quran, what are you thinking on this? Does a woman who proposes lose her feminine power?
What do you mean by feminine power?
Well, so in nature, right, the woman has the power of selection, right? Even when it comes to the animals, she selects, right? Men can come to her and she will say yay or nay. So that's the natural selection of a woman. Does she lose the femininity? Does she now take on a masculine posture uh throughout this relationship? What do you think?
Yeah, I believe that a woman proposing to a man is incorrect, and I believe she does lose her. It's not a feminine action, I would say. Even just seeing that woman get down on her knees to propose to that man look incorrect to me in general. It's just odd. I don't think anywhere biblically you can see a woman proposing to a man. But I
Yeah.
just believe that it's a natural order for a man to go after the woman he's trying to seek and for him to propose to her and for her to have the choice to deny him. So yes, I do believe she loses her feminine power by doing that.
Mhm. Wow, that's a great point, brother. That's a great point. Bringing in the biblical perspective and how even the perception, seeing it, how it made you feel. That's a great point. Um, Sister Danielle, what do you think? Do you think that does a woman who proposes lose her feminine power?
Yes, because again, now she's in a masculine role. And so he becomes feminine and she she becomes masculine.
Mm,
So
right.
I do believe she does. However, she can get it back. I
Yeah.
think it is a choice, but I think in this instance she does lose
Mm.
that feminine quality.
That's a great point. And you brought something else up. I want to go there. Does a female proposal emasculate the man in the eyes of his peers and his family? What do you all think?
Yes,
Okay, elaborate on that,
I think
please.
so because it's not the roles are like reversed, like almost like it's like to me I think she's a Jezebel, a controlling
Okay.
Jezebel spirit, like well
Hmm.
that's on her to me,
Hmm.
because it's kind of like manipulative in a way to me and controlling. Like
Hmm.
it's sending a message of she's the dominating one,
Hmm.
and I think that would be, family members would kind of frown upon that, just looking at that, I just, or maybe the women wouldn't, I guess, because it's everybody's following each other and it's like this feminist movement type of thing, they think it's empowering to have the same, or be on the same level as a man, which
Yeah.
I think that's just it's just all wrong. It's wrong. We're living in the last days. It's not biblical at all. So
Uh,
yeah.
That's a great point, sister. That is an excellent point. I would say I would have to openly confess that a sister proposing, in my eyes, she lowers herself. Because typically women set the standard and men meet the standard, whatever the standard is, right? If the man wants the woman, he will meet that bar, no matter where that bar is. And for a sister to propose, number one, I do believe she loses the femininity, the feminine power, because there's a power in femininity, and all men know it. Just the presence of a woman, it changes how men talk, how they act. Um, they become comedians now. There's a power that comes with femininity, and the Bible talked about women being one of the most powerful things ever created by God. And that's just the truth of it. And sisters may not know it, but men certainly know it. So I do believe, she takes on a masculine posture, and it really, it's in my opinion, it's not attractive. It's not an attractive quality, and it does seem a bit, um, I would say, what the kids say, thirsty. It does seem a bit thirsty. Um, So, I hate to see, even seeing the video, it really, I was embarrassed for her if it was my daughter, if it was my sister, if it was my niece. And I saw that or I heard that this potentially could transpire. I would do my darndest to try to persuade her not to. And as far as does it emasculate a man, I think it does. Seeing that man stand there and put his finger out for seeing this brother put his hand out so she can slide a ring on his finger. I just thought there's nothing masculine about this. There's nothing masculine about this. And so I certainly believe that a woman proposing, it certainly emasculates the man in the eyes of his peers and his family. Janae, jump in here. What do you think about this?
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, this man very zesty. Like, that's what I thought because, like you said, for him to hold his hand out, like, yeah, girl, I don't know, like he taking best friends too far. But yeah, I definitely think that that's not it. Like this man is not masculine. He definitely gonna be the one to cry in public. He definitely gonna be crying and telling her all his business. That's for sure. So and he was okay with it. And
Yeah.
like just the whole scenario was off. Really off. And like you said, I was embarrassed, secondhand embarrassment. Like, girl, get up. Like, what are you doing? Because
Yeah.
like you just set this relationship up. So you expect to be dominated, expect to be made not to feel like you matter. Expect all of that because this man, girl, he might not even like girls.
Mhm.
I might want to figure something else out there.
That's a good point. Sister Bahola, jump in here. What do you think?
I this made me think. I didn't see that video, you guys. The gentleman, but it made me think of this. I believe it was a show on Netflix, and it's a show just following a bunch of these Asians around, and a lot of them are so wealthy. But there's this one particular episode. There was a woman, and you could tell comes from a family of money, but she throws a party, and at the party, she is proposing to her fiance, who they've been together for a couple years, in front of everybody. And it was so cringy because yes, they're rich, they're fabulous, but the fact that she felt the need and all that luxury to propose to him, it just really exposed, wow, you're so desperate for marriage. You want to look like, you got it in front of all your peers, but we can see that even me, being visually impaired as I am through the screen on the other side of the country, watching you through Netflix, can tell, whoa, this is not a good idea. You probably shouldn't be with that guy. Like he's not making any effort to try to marry you. To be honest, looking at that, it really, yeah, I think he's there for your resources because he and I'd be honest, the type of guys that will love to say yes, even though they don't really mess with you like that, are the ones that they haven't done the inner work, and maybe
Yeah.
they don't have that moral ethnic compass. Because I'm noticing men who don't grow up with that Christian background or those values and things. Those I've noticed, those are the ones who are like, oh, marriage is this, marriage is that, da, da, da. And then if they come from a broken home, what I've noticed is that there's this like it's weird. Like there's like a broken concept, and they don't understand the power. They don't get it. They don't understand it, and yeah, and it's just important for us to recognize that. And we've had, yeah, it's easier said than done, but yeah.
That's a great point, sister. You made a plethora of great points there, sister. Let's get Nadia in here. Sister, jump in here.
The sister that was just speaking actually took my train of thought, what I was going to say. So I agree with
Mm,
everything that she says. But I was also going to say that I'm really actually curious to know how many relationships that start like that result in the husband being stay-at-home dads, um, result in like the roles being completely changed, completely flipped upside down. It would be interesting to know the statistics on that.
well, let's go there, sister. Let's go there. Does a female proposal set a precedent for the rest of the marriage?
I believe it does, because she really just took all the power away from the man.
A bad one, yeah.
Mm. So these sisters say yes. What do you think, Quran, brother Quran? Does a female proposal, does that set a precedent for the rest of the marriage?
Yeah, I suspect the dynamic is completely different because I mean I've been asked out before, and I guess through growth I just think the relationship, how it should work, is just it's a different dynamic. Like I really had all the power in my hands in those relationships. And honestly, I don't think like those relationships fulfilled me because
Mm.
I didn't seek and I didn't find the woman I wanted. You know, I got asked out and I was just with those women. And thank God I'm not with them anymore. But all praise to the Most High for showing me that really it
Well,
should be the man going and seeking after the woman.
yeah, that's a great point, brother. That's a really good point. And the question was, brothers Brothers and sisters, the question was, does a female proposal set a precedent for the rest of the marriage? What do you think, brothers and sisters?
Yes,
Sister, yeah, thank you.
I do think it does set the precedent of the marriage. It's like, again, the roles are reversed. And I agree with the panel. Like, it just seems like he's now stepped into a skirt and she's wearing the pants now. And it's not a good look, nor is it, he's not being a good leader at this point. It's like,
Hmm.
he the leader now
Uh,
because she's taken the position as the leader because it indeed he should be asking her, you know. But yeah, unfortunately, according to that video, that's not the case. And so he just looks really effeminate.
mm.
So,
So you say it is emasculating to this man then? You,
yeah, it's a blow to his
mm,
masculinity, you know, and
wow,
how embarrassing and what a shame,
wow.
you know. And so I just want to put it, it's just like she should be ashamed as well, but I guess she's blinded by
Yeah,
uh the fact that, you know, I guess you can just do whatever you want to do. This is the world we're living in right now.
right, right.
And it's just not, yeah, it's just not a good look.
That's a great point, sister. Janae, jump in. What do you think?
I just want to say that their relationship right there reminds me of a relationship in the Bible between Jezebel and Ahab. And if you have not read their story, you should go check it out.
That is a great point. That is a really good point. And I think one of the sisters, I think Sister Miriam actually brought that up and said that she said that she thought it was the spirit of Jezebel. That's so fascinating because that was the last thing that was on my mind, but it actually makes sense as I actually go through that and take an audit of that. That's a really good point. What are you thinking, brother Kevin? Yeah, I think you're on, brother.
I agree with you 100% in regards to the Jezebel spirit. Ultimately, I do also believe that it definitely emasculates a man when a woman proposes. I thought of the same thing Nadia said in regards to um, does now he have the privilege of staying home, the privilege of escorting the kids to
Yeah.
the park and
Mhm.
um, to daycare and to parent meetup sessions. I
Mhm.
mean, it's it's I'd been to those. I've been to those, and it's like I looked around. I'm like, man, I'm the only dude here, and it's like, with the little kid. I'm like, hold on, man. This ain't cool to me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, um, so uh, I don't advise a man allowing his woman to propose to him. Definitely not publicly. Um, that could be that could be something that's pretty daunting. Let's put it that way.
That's a great point, brother. And I think it is emasculating. I think it does set a bad precedent because now now she needs to buy the ring. I mean, when you propose to somebody, you end up buying the ring. So I think it's a bad precedent. Did anyone else want to get in on this before we go to our next video? Because it's going to get spicy. Okay, we're going to land that plane there. You all had great points that you made about the women proposing to men. I know our audience is going to be very appreciative to hear the nuance that you all had on that particular sensitive topic. Okay, take a look at this. Okay, this is a little sensitive here, but we're going to be brutally honest here. We're talking about total transparency so total transparency versus the pretty little lie. Take a look at this, brothers and sisters.
Of course you can lie to me, and you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. But Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course. Of
All
course
right,
you lie to me, because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell because I love you. I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man?
We're talking about total transparency versus the pretty little lie, and that was Nikki Giovanni. That was 40 years ago. Okay, and James Baldwin. So the question is, right? If a woman finds out her partner lied to protect her feelings, is she more likely to be grateful for the protection or angry about the deception? Jump in here, Sister Valhalla.
I mean, based on my experience, probably angry about the deception. It's like, why are you deceiving me? I want to be honest and transparent with you, but you're doing all that. But because of society's, social program, I do get it to some certain extent. But then, getting older, it's kind of like, well, why do we have to lie to each other? Why can't we just be, as honest as we possibly can, so we can make sure we're on the same page? And then, maybe instead of lying, maybe find a better way to communicate your truth, or or a better time to do that. And then what makes you feel like you have to lie to her? What are you doing that makes you feel like you have to do that?
That's a great point, sister. So Sister V says radical honesty, right? That's what she says. She wants 100% total transparency, right? Is that what you're saying, Vala?
Yeah, that's what I would like. That's what I would like. Yeah.
Great point, sister. Great point. We'll dig into that a little bit. Jump in here, brothers and sisters. If a woman finds out her partner lied to her to protect her feelings, is she more likely to be grateful for the protection or angry about the deception? Do women want the truth? Let's get Sister Miriam in here. What do you think about this, sister?
No, I don't want to be lied to. You should deal righteously with not only your neighbor, but with everybody around you, or with anybody in general. Liars are condemned. They're not in favor of the Most High God, and so I would, no matter if it hurts me or not, I need to gird up my loins and accept the truth. No, I wouldn't want him to lie to me, even if, like the one, the lady, what was her name, Nikki, or yeah, it seems like, she wants affection from her husband, or or from her man, and that, I hear what she's saying as far as him putting on a front for, the man putting on a front at work or whatever, but you have to deal cordially with, be cordial with people, So I guess, the bottom line, she's just wanting some affection. I think a man should treat his woman like he treats himself, and hopefully he's treating himself well. So therefore, he should treat his wife with some kind of compassion and support and things of that nature. You're supposed to, yeah. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
So you would say she would be more likely not to be grateful for you trying to protect her feelings, but more angry that you were disingenuous.
Yeah, if she found out it was a lie, then be deceptive. And
Mm.
deceptions of the devil. And not only that, it's like you're not like you're breaking trust with me,
Mm.
It's just you don't have to lie, just withhold, or figure something else out. It doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
have to be a lie. It's just something that you didn't share or whatever, the case may be. Because,
Yeah.
like earlier, you're not supposed to tell everything, but have, all your secrets or whatever, if you consider it a secret. But yeah, I would be angry, and she should be as well. So that's my take on that.
Great point, Sister Miriam. Let's get Sister Nadia in here. Jump in here, sis.
Can you repeat the question
Yeah.
exactly how you said it so that I can use the words you used?
Absolutely. So the question, brothers and sisters, if a woman finds out her partner lied to protect her feelings, is she more likely to be grateful for the protection or angry about the deception?
I firmly believe that she is more likely to be angry about the deception. While, yes, men are protectors and they should be protecting us, um, that lie can cause greater harm than whatever you were trying to protect her feelings from. Because that lie can turn into a bunch of other problems in your relationship. I believe that in a relationship, you should trust your spouse's, your partner's maturity to be able to handle the truth about things. You should be able to know if you're in a relationship with this person, then you should be able to know how to speak to them. You should be able to know how to break down things down to them in a way where it hopefully doesn't hurt them, but if it does, you should be able to say it in a way to ease that pain. But telling the truth is gonna win every time. Because if you lie to me about this, what else have you lied to me about? How many other times have you tried to quote unquote protect my feelings? So it just opens up a whole can of worms.
Okay. That's a great point, sister. Great point. And I think it would it seem like Sister Nikki was saying that women don't really want the truth. They say they want the truth, but do they? Janae, jump in here.
Um, okay. So I'm gonna answer your question. Your question about
Okay.
no, I don't want to be lied to. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to
Okay.
me because then you're a liar and there's a place for all liars in the lake of fire and hell. So don't lie to me about nothing, please. Just be honest. And like Sister Miriam said, I should be able to take that. And I know a lot of times women get emotional. Like I said, we cry. So men don't want to tell us the truth because we're going to cry, right? But you have to tell us the truth so we can grow and be better. So you have to grow a backbone and be strong enough to deal with the crocodile tears and the because like we don't like correction. We're like little kids when it comes to correction. Just for me at least, like dang, I messed up. We think about things very harshly, I think, and criticize ourselves very harshly more than you guys will ever understand. And that's where the tears come from. So I think that it's important that you do tell me the truth. Now, to break down Sister's video here, Sister Nikki was trying to tell this man, why when you come home do I only get negative behavior from you? You're mad and yelling and screaming and giving me hell, and I'm the one that loves you. She wasn't really saying lie to me. She was saying treat me like you treat that white man that you're going to work for. You treat the white man better than you treat me, yet you say you hate him. You say you love me, but you can't even tell me you love me when you come home. You can't give me the affection that I need. You can't smile at me, but you smiling at that white man so you can get that paycheck. So that's what sister was saying. I don't think she was really saying lie to me. And because any woman would be upset knowing you lied. Like, why are you lying? That's what we're gonna say, right? Why are you lying? You could just tell me the truth, even though we may not have wanted to hear the truth. But it's better to hear the truth than to not. Because like Sister Nadia said, what else have you lied to me about? Because you don't want to hurt my feelings. Don't ever lie to me. Like I cannot stand a liar. Like it just sends me through a roof. Just be honest. Just be honest. So I really feel like the sister, like Sister Miriam saying, was looking for affection and love, not hatred and harsh words from you when you come home because you had a bad day. Yeah, it's okay to vent, but don't vent it on me. Like tell me about it. Let us talk about it.
Okay.
That's what I
Good
feel like
points.
really meant.
Good point. Let's get Vahala in here. Get in here, sis. Tell us what your opinion is on this.
I was just thinking, if the woman doesn't have enough, I guess, self-love to
Mm.
or self-awareness to know that okay, I shouldn't be tolerating these lies and just letting them go and go and go. And she's still blinded to that. I was just thinking how the whole lying to protect you, if it's happening over and over, it's like a manipulation tool. It's just weird. Like so
Mhm.
you're just lying because you know if you tell me the truth that eventually I'll wake up a lot quicker and not want to deal with you, but you're gonna continue the whole lying thing because you could tell that okay, she's still kind of technically lying. So let's just go ahead with the lies so we can keep her around. But yeah. Yeah, it's a
Ah,
manipulation tool.
you said manipulate. You said that can be a form of manipulation. Is that what you said, sis?
Yeah, if they keep doing it over and over
Yeah.
again and they're too blind to wake up to it, then it's like, okay, since she's blind to it, let me just keep her around and I'll just keep feeding her.
Uh-huh.
But,
I
you know,
see.
from that perspective, I know it doesn't happen with every dynamic, but that could be one little factor.
That is a great point. That is a great point. Brothers and sisters, what do you think about this? Right? If a woman finds out her partner lied to protect her feelings, is she more likely to be grateful for the protection or angry about the deception? Okay, well then let me ask this. Oh, go ahead, jump in here, brother Kevin.
Something you said earlier, and I completely agree with. Women have the propensity of changing their mind. So a lot of times they feel one way and then completely different the next. So there are some who will say, well, I wish he hadn't told me that. Or he could have kept that to himself. Or why did you keep that to yourself? It's like, it's a constant ebb and flow of you know juggling emotions in which time um, that they should. And I know this from because of personal experience. I've been told, well,
Mhm.
why didn't you keep that to yourself? I'm like, what do you mean? Why did I keep that to myself? I thought that'd be something you'd like to know. And then when you hear that, just as Nadia was saying earlier in regards to the response, can then now, if you're holding things or withholding things, they get mad because you don't tell them things. Well, the last time I tried bringing something up, the way that I got the reaction or the response that I got was triggering. So therefore, now I'm withholding and not telling you stuff. So it's
Mm,
like, ultimately, as a man of God, we know it's right to be honest and righteous in all things. But I could see the nuances there and how it could sometimes be tricky in the specific partner in which you're dealing with.
mm. That's a great point, brother. That's a fascinating point. Now, let me ask this. Can a relationship survive radical honesty? Radical honesty, meaning no matter what the truth is, right? Because some people will say, well, hey, radical honesty is really just you not having empathy, right? I've heard that. I've heard sisters say that. So jump in here, Janae. What do you think? Can a relationship survive radical honesty?
Yeah, I think what it is how it's delivered, right? So if you're being rude about it, that's different.
Mm,
Oh, your
that's a
hair
good point.
ugly, girl, look dry like a dry Brillo pad. You didn't have to say
Mhm,
it like that. You could have just said,
mhm,
"Hey, your hair ain't looking the best today," or something like that. But I think radical honesty is good. I want to hear radical honesty. I want you to be honest at all times.
mhm,
Honesty is the best policy. That's what they say, right? So don't
mhm,
lie, just be honest. But it's your delivery. Delivery matters. It really, really matters. That's where the empathy comes
mhm,
in, is in your delivery. And coming from somebody who's brutally honest and sometimes doesn't have delivery very well, I know because I get the feedback like,
mhm.
hey, you could have said that a little different. So I understand that
Great
it's all
point.
in your delivery, and I ain't the best deliverer of honesty, and I'm working on that.
That's a great point. That's a great point. What do you think, brothers and sisters? Jump in here, Kevin.
I think it's actually two R's, but one's called radical and then the other one's called respectful. And I believe, from a radical standpoint, I think it is just being radical in how you're saying it, not being respectful in how you're saying it. So I believe if
Mhm,
someone's respectfully honest and
mhm,
brutally so, to where it's, some of the harsh, not harsh, but some of the most honest stuff. I think it can be delivered in a respectful manner.
mhm,
But when you're radically doing something, I think people they're just going to be radical. I think the guys who were at 9/11 at the White House, they are pretty radical.
mhm,
So um, it's just how. I think the delivery is, as Janae was talking
Delivery.
about.
That's a great point that you both bring up. Great point. What do you think, brothers and sisters? What are you thinking on this topic, right? Can a relationship survive radical honesty? Right? And if so, then the question is, when a woman asks for an opinion, when a sister asks for an opinion, is she seeking an expert witness or is she seeking an ally? Right? When a sister is asking for an opinion, is she seeking a expert witness or is she seeking an ally? What do you think?
Asking an opinion from whom?
Anyone, I guess, whoever she's asking, we're just speaking generally. What does a woman actually want when she's asking whoever she's asking for an opinion? Is she looking for someone to empathize with her, agree with her, or is she truly asking, what do you think?
Okay, I'm gonna say that it depends. The reason why I say it depends is because women have a lot of different personalities. So it depends on which personality is asking you that day. Because and also who she's asking it from. Sometimes we do seek for compliments and fish for compliments, and sometimes we don't. I'm just gonna be honest. Like we said, honesty. So, and sometimes no, for me personally, I want you to tell me the truth. Please don't lie to me. Like if I'm like, oh, look at this, like this dress is like not fitting my body. Please tell me. Don't let me just walk around looking like a lumpy potato. Tell me what I look like, please. I would really appreciate that. So I think it just depends on the woman as well, and depends on who's the woman's asking. I think that matters.
That's a great point.
Except for
Let,
me,
let,
we're different. Just tell me.
that's a great point. Let's hear from Sister Danielle on this. Sister, when a sister asks for an opinion, is she seeking an expert witness or is she seeking an ally? What do you think about this? Just give us some
I
give the brothers some guidance here.
I agree with Sister Janae. I think it depends on the woman. Um, just like back to the topic of lying, I think it depends
Mhm.
on the woman. Um, me personally, I would not want to be lied to because again, that's going to send me on a spiral. And
Mm,
if anytime I have to play detective, I just need not be in the relationship. Um,
mm,
because I'm not about to go through your phones and like I said, lying to me because again, I think it was either Sister Nadia or Sister Miriam, forgive me. I know it was one of y'all that said, what else are you lying about?
mm,
And yeah, I'm not, that's just gonna, my mind just, would just play that over and over. And then I would feel the need to have to do some digging just to kind of
mm,
verify or confirm some things. But
mm,
anytime I feel like I can't trust you, then there's no need to be in the relationship.
mm.
There's nothing else that could be done. Like I feel like once you lose trust, there's nothing else you can salvage about the relationship.
That's a great point. Wow, that's
And
a
I
great
want to
point.
say also just lying, there's nothing ever good come about lying. For me,
Mm,
when I thought about this topic, it made me think instantly about Abraham. Now, although
mm,
he lied to protect his own life, he
mm.
ended up putting his wife in harm's way. And so
Yeah.
it was the Most High who had to protect her because no telling if the Most High did not intervene or step in, who knows what would have happened. So, you know, and I feel like when a person lies, it's always for a selfish reason. There's nothing
Mm.
you can say, I did it to protect you. No, you wanted to have your cake and eat it too. You're looking out for self, whatever the case may be. When anytime you have to lie, it's never a good, it's never for a good reason. It's always
Mm.
self-serving.
Wow. Wow. Great point, sister. Taking us back to Abraham and him being disingenuous. Great point, sister. Fascinating. Okay, so most of our panel says, hey, a relationship can survive radical honesty, right? I don't think I heard anyone say they disagreed with that. Even though we have heard when a woman asks for an opinion, she may mean one thing or she may mean something else, which which is I think what puts people in a bind almost, brother. So let's ask this. If a woman asks, do you like this outfit, this haircut, this career move, and the man genuinely hates it, is he a better partner for being 100% honest, or is he what supposed to be her biggest fan, regardless of his opinion, of her opinion, excuse me, his opinion? So the question is, if a sister asks, do you like this outfit, this hairstyle, this career move, and the man, he genuinely hates it, is he a better partner for being 100% honest, or for being her biggest fan, regardless of his opinion?
I think he should be her biggest fan and be honest. So if you don't like it because if you're my husband, your opinion matters to me more than anybody else's opinion matters. So I want to hear what you have to say. If you're saying like, no, I really don't like the way that looks on you, then I'm gonna take that advice, and 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna change it. Or if you say, well, I don't think you should work here, I'm gonna take your advice. Like, why don't you think I'm gonna now? Why not? Because I thought it was such this great idea, but now you're telling me it's not. So yeah, I think for me personally, I think you should definitely be honest. Now, if we're speaking generally, like for a worldly people, I don't think so. I think worldly people want to hear what they want to hear. And that's it. Like you're gonna have a problem if you don't agree with what I gotta say. And I think that's just what worldly people are like. But if you're following the law, statutes, and commandments, then you want to stand up for what's right and be righteous. And so be honest.
Great point. But hold on, jump in here, sis. The question is, if a woman asks, do you like this outfit, this haircut, this career move, and the man, he genuinely hates it, is he a better partner for being 100% honest, or for being her biggest fan, irregardless of his opinion?
Um, I liked some aspects of Janae's response, to be honest, where, show support, show some love, be my fan, but I would like you to be honest, be honest with me so that way I can, you know, based on your opinion, kind of make my own decision. But I was also thinking too, you know, this man that I'm asking for his opinion, is this the right man? Is this a good quality person? For me to be asking their opinion. Hopefully, if I'm asking about all this, hopefully by that
Yeah.
time, but that's something I'm,
Yeah,
like, wait a second.
that's a great point, sister. That is a great examination. Great point, sister. Wow. So she says she wants a little bit of both. Sister Beholder says, right? Okay. What do you think? Jump in here, brothers and sisters, right? If a woman asks, let's hear from a man. If a woman asks, do you like this outfit, haircut, or career move, right? And the man, he genuinely hates it. Is he a better partner for being 100% honest, or for being her biggest fan, regardless of his genuine, true, sincere opinion?
I believe you're failing that woman if you don't give her your true, honest opinion. It doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be blunt. But I think you should express your full thoughts to the utmost ability without being, rude or crass.
Mm-hmm.
Cause especially if she loves you, she cares about you, you'll do her way better if you give your opinion. And I don't and like I think it was Sister Danielle said earlier, lying is never gonna make a situation better. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
believe, I don't believe in the power of a lie. It may offer a temporary band-aid, but it's gonna create a deeper wound. And I just believe you're gonna end up with a failed relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a
be
great point.
as truthful as possible all the time. But there's sometimes some things don't need to be said. You don't have to. There's a difference between I would say just not bringing something up versus outright lying. You know,
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. That's a great point, brother. And the question was, If a woman asks, "Do you like this outfit, this haircut, this career move?" And the man he genuinely hates, is he a better partner for being 1,000% honest, or for being her biggest fan, irregardless of his opinion? What do you think, brother Kevin?
I believe he should be honest with her completely. Again, there's respectful honesty, and then there's, I guess we would call it ratchet honesty. Um, so, but at the same time, it can also depend on the dynamics of your relationship. You guys both can banter with each other and, or, joke with each other if you guys have it like that. But I also believe it's always, it would behoove a man to always take into consideration the woman's emotions and feelings, because I believe women feel words, whereas men hear words. So, I do believe that you should always be honest ultimately.
It's a great point. So you said honesty. Brother Kevin says honesty in consideration of a sister's emotions. That's a great point, brother. That's a great point. Okay, so let's ask, if a man, if he finds another woman, a friend or a coworker, objectively more attractive than his partner, should he admit it if he's asked, or is a white lie a requirement for a healthy relationship? If a man finds another woman, a friend or a colleague, objectively more attractive than his partner, should he admit it if he is asked, or is a white lie a requirement for a healthy relationship? What do you
Um,
think?
I want to say something. And as well as the other question as far as that, because if I'll answer the question right now. I think he should still be honest with me, because to me, I want to be able to be appealing to my man, and if he finds someone else appealing and it's enough for him to admit, then I want to be able to examine myself, only just to be pleasing to my man. You know, it's not that I want to copy her or anything of that nature, but I'm just curious to know what exactly he finds attractive about her. Is it a lust thing, or is it something
Mhm,
that she's potentially providing, or or he, just where his mindset at it is
mhm,
as far as that goes. And then
mhm,
if I was to ask,
mhm,
my husband his opinion, for me, I value his opinion, and I
mhm,
would want him to be honest with me about that, whether it's um I'd rather him be honest, and
mhm,
it's like I I would be asking that because I genuinely want to know,
mhm.
what he, if he hates it, then I want to be able to examine myself and see, and change it,
Mhm.
because ultimately you want to be that one, you don't want any outside noise per se, or distractions for your man. So that's just my opinion on it.
That's a great point, sister. That's an excellent, excellent, very loquacious there, sister. Let's get Sister Vahola in here. What do you think, sis?
Uh, ooh, that was a tough one, but I had to look within. Just I guess who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. But I was just thinking that I personally wouldn't even ask that question to him to begin with. If I
Mhm,
sense that you find somebody else attractive, I'm gonna Mel Robbins and let you in and see where your actions, you know,
mhm,
where they lead to. Me personally,
mhm,
because I don't want to sit there comparing myself to a whole other female. I want to better myself and everything. And I'll come to you and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? If you see that I'm
mhm.
kind of, we're not, which I don't want to go down that route either, but if you
Yeah.
see that, things are getting kind of rough, I would appreciate you to tell me, but I don't feel comfortable ever put myself in that position asking,
Mhm,
hey, what is it about her? It's weird. I wouldn't do it. Don't do it.
mhm. That's a great point, sister. That's a great point. So, Sister Vahola says she would never really ask her man, "Hey, are you attracted some other person. And ultimately, because then you have to deal with the answer. So I think sister's using her wisdom here about what type of question she's actually pursuing. That's a great point, sister. Very good point. I know the audience is very grateful to hear that out there. And the question is, let me put it out there again. If a man finds another woman, a friend or colleague of his, objectively more attractive than his partner, should he admit it if he's asked, or is a what they consider a white lie? Is that a requirement to actually have a healthy, long-lasting relationship? Jump back in here, sister.
Oh, I had another thought to that question too. Man, it was on my mind. It was on my mind. It was on. I'm gonna have to come back to it. It was on my mind, and it just went
Okay.
away. It just went away. My apologies.
Okay. Right, so we're gonna come right back to you. What do you think, brothers and sisters? Let's be honest here, because Nikki Giovanni says lie to me. She said most women, they say they want the truth, but they really don't. And I hear mostly different from sisters on this panel. Now I don't know if Sister Giovanni was a believer or anything like that, but you know, I want you to truly be honest here, right? And speak generally, like generally, what do sisters want? If a man finds another woman, just generally to the majority, if a man finds a woman attractive, and he's asked about it, should he say yes? Or should he give a white lie to help protect his wife's feelings? Jump back in here, Vahala, please.
I was just thinking to another reason why I wouldn't feel comfortable asking such a question to him is because
Mhm,
there's 8, 9 billion humans on this planet.
mhm,
I don't have the best vision, but I'm just going to assume that there's a lot of women on this planet. I've heard there's way more women on this planet than men. So,
mhm.
I just think,
Yeah.
there's going to be people who look way more conventionally attractive than we may be.
Mhm,
And men, they, they are who they are. They're going to look, some of them, I don't know, I'm not condoning it, but I know there's lots and lots of women on this
mhm.
planet, and I know there's women that look way better than me, and but I don't want to sit there and stress myself out trying to,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, why does she look better than me? Didn't know. Let's
Mhm,
work on improving ourselves. How can I improve
mhm,
my look in a way that I know that this person will like it
mhm.
too? But I don't want to sit there compare myself to another queen like that. Like, nah. But I do know that there's
Yeah.
plenty of beautiful queens. And because there's
Mhm,
plenty of beautiful queens, I personally don't even want to ask that question. Let's just focus
mhm.
on ourselves. If he likes it, cool.
Absolutely.
If he don't, then let's just continue developing
Mhm.
ourselves into the best version of ourselves when it comes to our looks and our bodies and how we care for ourselves.
That's a great point, sister. That's a great, great point. Jump in here, Sister Nadia. What are you thinking about this?
I was gonna say I agree with the last sister. What would make you ask that question? First of all,
Mhm,
like where did that come
mhm,
from? Are you guys arguing about something? Did she find
mhm,
something in your phone? Like what
mhm,
brought that up? Because why are we asking these kind of questions? First
mhm,
of all, the second point I wanted to make is that um, attraction comes in very different forms. It's not always sexual. And
mhm,
people can be attracted to your personality, your smile, your charisma. Like there's different things that a person is potentially attracted to.
mhm.
So all of those things matter when you're asking these questions. Now, if
Yeah.
a man is coming home and saying, "I just absolutely love my coworker. She is so great. She's got the most positive attitude. You know what I mean? She's got this going on." Okay, well then first of all, you just said you loved her. Let's talk about it. Like then that's where some questions can come out. But then that's also where you can start to think, okay, is my attitude not upbeat? Is there something I need to work on? And those are questions, things that you can talk about maturely. You can definitely approach these things maturely, um because unfortunately sometimes people don't know how to say things. He might
Mhm,
have said that because you've had a bad attitude lately, and he was
mhm,
saying, hey, this person at work has a great attitude.
mhm.
Hint hint, work on your attitude, hun. So
That's a great
those
point.
things can be talked about maturely, but it's also, you also have to understand, like I said, or understand that attraction comes in very many different forms. So just
Mhm.
saying that you're attracted to something about someone, it goes deeper than that. Um, so yeah.
That's a great point. That's a really good point. So for, let's say, what advice would you be giving your sons? Right? What advice would for what advice would you give your sons here? Right? Janae, jump in here, please.
Honesty is the best policy. You gotta be honest all the
Mm-hmm.
time. Is what I always say. No
Mm-hmm.
matter if it hurts somebody's feelings or not, I think in the
Mm-hmm.
end you're helping them out. However, why are we asking this question? That is like, where I'm at too. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And I do think women in the world, they do ask this question a lot. Like, oh, you think she's cuter than me? Um, I don't know why they ask that question because they generally already know their man and he's probably going to answer and say yes. So it's like you were trying to start a fight. I don't know, like the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of it. Like, I don't ask a question unless I actually have a purpose behind it. I'm not just going to ask empty questions, um, like that. So I don't really know. I wouldn't ask a question like that. And like Vahola was saying about comparing and stuff, and we know that comparison is a thief of joy. So you should never
Mm-hmm.
compare yourself to
Yeah.
others, because then you're gonna like start finding faults in yourself and
Mm-hmm.
looking within, and really not be of God. That's vanity. Then we're gonna get into vanity and a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
traits that are not from the Most High, and not
Mm-hmm.
fruitful. So, what is the purpose of asking this question unless you want to
Mm-hmm.
break up? I don't know why you would
Mm-hmm.
ask that.
Great
But
point.
I think maybe as a young man,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm giving this advice to my son and he's saying my girl or my wife is saying that I think my coworker's more attractive than her. What do I say? You don't answer that question, and you just reassure your wife or your girlfriend or whoever she is how beautiful she is and how you view her. Don't answer that question. Just don't
Mm-hmm.
answer it and tell her it's unnecessary for her to even think of anything like that, and reassure her and give her words of encouragement, and maybe pull out the scriptures, because once the scriptures get pulled out, all that negativity is going to go away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great point. Great point. Floor is open. What advice would you be giving the men in your life? Your sons, your brothers, uh, your nephews. If a man finds another woman attractive, more attractive, objectively, than his partner, and he's asked about it, should he be honest? Should he deal with what they would consider radical honesty, which is to tell her I am attracted to her, or what they consider a white lie? Is that something that is a requirement to have a healthy relationship, long lasting? What are you all thinking on this?
This is a this is Vahola. I agree with a lot of what Janae said because at first I didn't even know how to really answer that. I'm still stuck on the whole. Let's not even ask that question to be
Mhm, mhm.
stuck on that. But I really do like your answer, Janae.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Oh,
Karan.
oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm so
Come on back,
sorry.
sister.
I had raised my hand because I thought I was thinking too while listening that I think that based on what I've seen with other women, what I've seen in my life too, I was just thinking, I think asking such a question, it I think if a woman feels the need to ask a man that question to see how you can make yourself better because he's looking at other, I think it kind of stands for a place of insecurity, and that's why it's
Mm,
important that we do not compare ourselves to other females. There's going to be beautiful women all over the place. There's going to be women looking better
mm,
than us, looking in shape, doing all this other stuff. So if we look at another female and we're feeling some kind of way about that, we should take that little sense of whatever that is and look at ourselves like, you know what, I like how she's over there doing that. Maybe this is something that I've been wanting. Maybe I should do this for
yeah.
myself, and then but
Mhm,
ooh, it's
yeah.
not a pretty path.
That's a great point. I would say I would suggest to my sons or my brothers, if I'm counseling a brother, is to use wisdom, right? To use your wisdom. And I don't believe your wisdom is ever going to tell you to be disingenuous. I just don't believe God would uh, push you in that direction, but use your wisdom. Um, because once again, I know that sisters are very unique. Women are one of the most complex there's so many complexities with women, that God tells us about. And even though a woman says one thing, it's not always what she thinks. It's what she feels. Many times, and she says, "Hey, I want to go out with the boys. Go, just you can go, you can go." But really, she doesn't mean that. She's just saying it, but she really doesn't mean that. So sisters, and I think men have to know that, right? So the Bible says if you're going to be with the woman, you have to understand women, and women will say how they feel, and rather than what they think. So I would tell a brother, don't say anything that's going to bring your wife or your girlfriend, quote unquote, an extra burden. Um, I wouldn't even address the question. I would reassure my wife that there's no one more beautiful in this world than me. My wife is my heart, she's my liver, she's my pancreas, she's all of that. And I would let her know that. And I would suggest to brothers to do the same. Because sisters are weaker vessels, and that you say that even if it's the truth, it will weigh on her and it will destroy your marriage. I don't care what sisters have to say about that. It will destroy your marriage because sisters struggle with, and sisters have five primary insecurities. And the number one insecurity that sisters deal with is their body, their shape, right? It's the number one insecurity that they have. I don't care what shape they have, how wealthy they are. This is the one thing, or one of the five, but the primary thing the devil uses against sisters. And if you don't use wisdom and what you say, you will destroy her. You will destroy her confidence. And I would suggest to my son to don't address that, right? Don't address that. Speak life into her. Tell her how wonderful she is and how happy you are to be with her and to spend the rest of your natural life together. But I'm not going to play into this game that you're playing, babe. I'm not. I'm really not. And I believe that is what wisdom would um, have you do, right? Don't go all throughout with this. I wouldn't suggest the radical honesty. I wouldn't suggest lying, but I also, the Bible says a man or a woman must know when not to speak. Silence is golden. And one of the things I've learned as I've gotten closer to the Most High is I don't have to say everything I think. I don't have to say everything I know. And a lot of times when because I deal with counsel, I can know something that I don't need to say, right, to somebody, or I don't need to let them know that I know about this because there's really no need for it right now. So I would suggest, to a brother, to be very careful, tread lightly. Don't listen to a woman telling you, hey, just be honest and truthful with me, radical. That's what I want. Don't believe that. Okay, I'm sorry. Do not believe that. Okay. Use your wisdom and don't play into things that will hurt your wife. And once again, I'm not saying lie because I don't believe in lying. I believe when you lie, you're saying the lie is king. You're saying that I believe this lie can get me out of a situation not even God can get me out of. Right. So I don't ever want to live that life where I believe a lie is more powerful than God Himself. And I do believe that's what we do when we're disingenuous, when we bring forth these lies. So I wouldn't want to do that, and I certainly wouldn't suggest to any other brother or sister to do that. Use your wisdom, get off that topic. Get off that topic immediately, okay? And just reassure your wife, reaffirm her and her position and place in your life. So that's how I would suggest to a brother, my son, a brother, so forth and so on. I would suggest that way. Okay, and we have one more video here, brothers and sisters. We have one.
Y'all, I'm in Kroger, and you would not believe the audacity some people have. Me and my husband are in the shopping. My husband, the baby. Mr. Baby, the baby. We in Kroger shopping. We on the aisle now. I'm looking at stuff, and this woman is with another woman, and she's like, "Sir, excuse me, sir, can you reach this off the top shelf for me? We're short. I look at them, I look at him, he look at me, he said, boo. The fact that he knew he needed permission to help these people, and the fact that they thought they could just ask him and he was gonna move for them. The audacity. Ain't that right, boo? That done tickled my soul. So I say that to say this. If you are in the store, married or single, by yourself, and you need help, and you notice that the man that you about to ask help from is with a woman, the correct thing to say is, excuse me, ma'am, is it okay if your husband can help me get something from the shelf? Don't put that man in that weird situation, because my husband's like, he didn't flinch, he didn't move, he looked at me, and he like, boo. And we both knew what that boo meant. So, but have a good day.
All right. So let us. Oh, Sister Viola, you got a comment you want to make here? I see you.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, you can ask the question first. I was gonna jump in. Sure, you can ask the question
Okay.
first.
So then let me ask this, sister, brother and sister. Does a wife have the right to veto her husband's helpfulness?
Can I answer?
Yeah, of course, sister.
I've
Please.
I've seen this online, and I've got
Mhm.
some my okay. So when I first seen it, I'll be honest, I was kind of a little confused because I was thinking like, wait, but they're just asking him for help for something off the shelf. Like,
Mhm.
what's wrong with that? But then when I heard some other people online who were married and they're sharing their thoughts on, okay, I kind of understand. He's respectful enough to look at her and ask her, okay, can I help
Mhm.
him? But at first, without all that extra, everybody else's opinion, I did naturally think, well, they're just asking for help. But then
Mhm.
too, me personally, well, I'm blind, so of course I'm going to do this, but I'm going to go straight to customer service and ask somebody or find somebody with a help vest to do it. But
Mhm.
there can be in situations where you are at the store, you're looking around and you see a tall person. But I did like her point about, address them. So maybe I would be like, hey guys, or hey ma'am, would you guys be able to? So I liked her point when she said that. I'll be honest with that. So those are my thoughts. Kind of all over the place, but those are my genuine thoughts.
That's a great point, sister. Very great point. Jump in here, Sister Nadia, please.
So I think a man should be allowed to be a man.
Mhm.
And if he wants to help out, then he can help out. However, there are some lines and stipulations to that because
Okay.
other people can be conniving and deceiving and
Mhm.
sneaky, and there's some stipulations to that. That being
Mhm.
said, as Kevin likes to point out, I am short, um, and I need a lot of help at the store, especially if it's just me and my daughter. Um, and I do tend to ask people walking by, but I speak to both of them. I
Mhm.
just I'm like, can I get some help, please? And put my head to the side, kind of go, oh, I'm so sorry. And usually the wife is always like, honey, go help her. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
about how you do it, about
Mhm.
how you approach it, about how you ask, about how you present yourself. I'm not looking at the man and batting my eyes and saying, can I have some help, please? And just totally ignoring his wife. Um, and so I think everything, can be done decently and in order.
Yeah, that's a great point, sister. That's a really, really good point. Wow. Janae, jump in here. What do you think about what you're hearing here?
I agree with Sister Nadia and what she said
Hmm.
because I'm also a short person who goes to the store quite often, and so I need a lot of help getting stuff off shelves. They always put the good
Okay.
stuff on the top shelf. So I do ask people, but there is etiquette towards this. If a man and a woman is together, you ask the woman. You always ask the woman.
Mm.
And I'll ask her, like, can you help me or can your husband help me? Can somebody help me? And that's not my husband. Okay, well, whoever you with. So I always ask the woman. I think there's etiquette to that.
Mm.
I also I just ask whoever's there. So if somebody's there, or if you at Walmart, there's generally no workers around when you need them. They're only around in the way when you don't need them in the way. So there's nobody there. So I've walked several aisles before looking for somebody. So there are times when I do need to ask for help. So I think, to be honest with you, this lady in this video is probably pretty insecure and has some issues because she was so like, I really don't care if somebody asks you for help. and they struggling. What's wrong with that? Like, shouldn't we help thy neighbor? Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I really don't, doesn't bother me because, like, what are you gonna do? Get her number? Like, I don't understand what the point of her being so upset about that. But I do think there's still a respect factor and etiquette in asking for help, and who you ask too. But yeah, I just feel like that lady might have been insecure. Maybe her husband has given her reasons to feel insecure. And that's why she's like, what? They're just gonna come and ask my husband? Think not. It was the way she did all that extra stuff at the end. Had she not did all that, then I probably would have thought maybe she just thought it was disrespectful. They're obviously in the South, as you can tell, and there are some certain levels of respect in the South that you just don't cross. There's yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no, ma'am, no, sir. So I think that just is a respect thing. Overall,
So are you saying, does a wife have the right to veto her husband's helpfulness?
yeah, and vice versa. Yeah, I can say no
Okay.
because you are mine and I am yours. So
Okay.
it goes both ways. If I feel like
Okay.
something's up with that, if I feel weird about that, I mean, I wouldn't because that's just petty. Like,
Okay.
help the people out. I probably would have
Okay.
tell you, can you help the people out? You see, she's struggling. Help her out.
Okay. Great point. Great point. Let's hear from Sister Miriam. Does a wife have the right to veto her husband's helpfulness? Oh, I'll get you next, Nadia. I see you, girl.
Said, does a wife have the right to veto if her
Yeah.
husband helps someone else or not?
Yeah, does she have the power to veto his helpfulness? As in this video, she says that he needed to essentially get permission before he assisted somebody. So does a wife have that right to do that, to veto and say, hey, no, I don't want you helping?
I think if he respects his wife and it makes her feel uncomfortable,
Mm,
then yes, I think he should value her opinion.
mm,
Um, Now, if I was the one asking for help, because I am a person that's short,
mhm.
I wouldn't ask a couple or a man
Okay.
that's with a woman. I don't know the dynamics of it to avoid
Mm,
all that.
okay.
I just ask for a manager or go get a stick or something to get it off myself, like,
Mm.
but, generally, I don't think it's a big old deal. If I'm solid in my relationship and, you know, I, I'm secure in that, then I don't mind. But yeah, I can see, you know, considering the video, it just seems like
Mm,
that a woman may be a little insecure and maybe he
sure,
given her a reason why to be,
sure.
and then I think it's also, it probably has to do with who's asking. Like if it's a woman with some
Mm,
booty shorts on or something,
okay,
and and if
okay.
I know my husband, he's got a wandering eye, then yeah, I'll be
Mhm.
a little insecure about that. So
That's a good point. That's a great point, sister.
yeah,
Very nuanced there.
but
Nadia, jump in here, sis. What are you thinking?
I was just going to add there's different levels to help as well.
Okay.
So, you asking my significant other for help at the grocery store in front of me is different from the female neighbor coming and asking my husband to come help her hang a mirror or
Okay.
get something off the top that she can't reach. It's
Okay.
very, very different. So,
Okay.
and those things, yes, absolutely, vetoing it, saying, honey, I'll go with you, or anything. There's
Yeah.
ways to deal with those things because some things are inappropriate. And like I said,
Mm,
people are ratchet. People do things. People do try to plot and set up. Like it's just a reality. And so
true.
when you're dealing with that
Yeah.
reality, you take the
Mm,
situation and then you base your reaction off of the situation in front of
mm.
you.
That's a great point, sister. That's a great point there. Let's hear from Sister Danielle. Sister, does a wife have the right to veto her husband's helpfulness? And then we'll get Kevin in here.
I think she can. But it's kind of like with this scenario, why would you want to?
Hmm.
Um, I feel like pick your battles. I
Mm,
just I don't really see the harm. For me personally, like if I needed assistance, I would just call customer service.
mm,
Um, and get their assistance. But for me, if I was put in the situation, I would want my husband. He wouldn't have to ask me because again, as Sister Nadia said, it depends because this is in a public. This is
Yeah.
a grocery store. Just help them out so we can kind of go about our business. But
Yeah.
and I think that's a kind gesture to help someone. You know,
Mm.
I just I don't feel it necessary. I guess necessary to even check with me because again, it's a quick interaction. I don't see it going on or lingering any further than just you helping them and then we can go about our day.
Ah, that's a great point, sister. That's a really good point, Sister Danielle. Wow. Okay. Um, okay, Brother Kevin, jump in here. What are you thinking about this?
I think it's sad that we live in a time where people are this insecure to where they have to um, dis- distribute helping someone else has to be a regulated occurrence. Um, it's as I said when you asked me the first question. You said when we led into this, what's the one word? I said service, and no matter who asks me, I'm going to give them aid. I don't think Christ, if somebody was pulled over and their wagon was unhitched, would he, be like, ma'am, would your husband mind if I change your cart or the wheel on your tire or the whatever? Or, sir, would you mind if I changed? I don't think he would just help. He would just, can I be of service? Can I help? And I think a lot of times we over analyze things and make mountains out of molehills. And so if you're asking for me, if I had a woman who I had to get her permission to help somebody else, now I'll take in consideration everything her opinion and everything that she has, but I wouldn't be with a woman like that to where I have to render aid to somebody. I need to first run it by you. When we're together, I was the man who went out of my way to pick you, as we said earlier, talking about Proverbs. When I made you my wife, and now I have to go get your permission just to render aid to people. I don't care what their agenda might be, but I know what mine is. That's to come in to help, to serve, and so I don't want to be with the person who I have to get their okay, get their community pass to go, hall pass or whatever, just to go out and help somebody else or whoever's asking for permission of help. Because I know my intentions, and it's not to be disrespectful to my woman, but to rather to lead with service as Christ would.
That's a great point, brother. That's a great point. So, okay, would you say then, brother, would you say that should a wife be able to veto a husband's helpfulness based on your stance?
Like I said, I believe you should take into consideration your wife's opinion. Um, but as the leader, if you know that your intentions are to do something that's righteous, and then I think you have the final say so as the leader of the household. But again, I believe you can listen, take into consideration, and then see. I believe, I believe we talked about this before in church. If a situation is going on in the moment and a wife has an issue, I believe she should take that issue up with the husband after the fact, not right then. You know what I mean? Because that can cause, that can cause, friction. That can cause disrespect, not protecting his integrity and stuff in the moment. So even if she didn't like it, I think that should take prevalence, allow the situation to play out, and then afterwards have that discussion. But I ultimately believe that you should take into consideration your woman's opinion. But ultimately the final decision rests with you.
Great point, brother. That's a great point. think the audience appreciates the nuance there. Okay, so then let's go here. Is permission a sign of respect, or is it a sign of control? Is permission a sign of respect, or is it a sign of control, brothers and sisters, in this case? What do you think? Let's get yeah, come on in, Kevin. Please lead us, brother.
Unfortunately, we live in a time where a lot of people view permission as authority and control and all this stuff. But ultimately, I believe if two people are walking in their purpose and they're a kingdom couple, I believe communication is key, is a key component, excuse me, in all that we're doing. And so vice versa, I think some things a husband actually can ask for his wife's opinion as well and her permission. But I think I don't believe it all has to do with control at all. Because when we talk about submission, a lot of people, especially men, overlook the fact that the Bible also tells men to submit to their wives. So, it's an interesting thing.
That's a great point, brother. That's a really good point. And that's certainly an overlooked aspect of Ephesians 5. Janae, jump in here, please.
I agree with Kevin. I think that this world is wicked and they don't understand submission. And you should be asking permission. Because it's not like what most people think permission is. It's respect. Like we have a partnership together, if that's how the world wants to view it, because they don't really view marriage the way it should be viewed. They view it as a business. So we have a partnership, and if we're a business partnership, shouldn't I go to my partner before I make a decision to say, hey, this is what I would like to do? What do you think about this? Are you okay with this? What's your opinion on this? Maybe, oh, well, actually, I just made this deal over here with so and so. So we got to be there at 4 o'clock. Oh, okay. Well, maybe that might have happened. Or, this is what's on the table. I was just getting ready to ask you this. So I think that you should ask permission. I always tell people that. Sure, I probably can do it, but I got to check with my husband first. And I know that kind of rubs people the wrong way, but I don't care if that rubs you the wrong way. That's on you, your own insecurities. I love my husband. I love my marriage, and I respect my husband and my marriage. And I have to ask him first before I make a decision to go out and be gone all day. Like, that's just how it is. So I think people just need to get used to that. And unfortunately, as believers, we got to get used to people having an attitude about it.
That's great. Well, so you say permission isn't a sign of control. It's actually a sign of respect.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What do you think,
Because,
brothers and
like,
sisters?
when you did something with your parents, you asked your parents' permission.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you are supposed to take the place and role of my father, then why wouldn't I ask your permission?
That's a great point.
And I don't think husbands should just be out here making all these decisions without discussing it with their wives as well. Yeah. Because you married this woman. She obviously has something that you appreciate. So maybe you get her opinion as well to see if it can align with yours. Maybe she has an extra piece that you missed. And you're like, oh, yeah, I could add X, Y, Z. But ultimately, it's up to you. And that's all I got to say about that.
That is a great, great point. Let's get Sister Vahola. Sister, is permission a sign of respect or a sign of control? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Sister Vahola, what's your opinion, sis? Is permission a sign of respect or a sign of control here?
Sorry, I was having trouble finding the mute button. That mute button was winning hard. It was winning the battle. I think okay. So, what's the context around that? Because I kind of missed that part. My apologies.
Yeah. So what transpired, sister, was the woman she essentially implied that her husband can't help people unless
Oh,
he
oh,
asks
yes.
first.
On that. Yes, I do think that asking if it's a man and woman, and you're maybe asking, hey, can you guys help me? I do think it is a sign of respect because when you mentioned that, Janae, when you mentioned that she's obviously from the South, it had me thinking, well, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, that's my hometown, and I do think that there is a sense of like, you got to be respectful of the marriage. But being that I'm visually impaired, if I'm out in public, I don't know, I can't see y'all's your physical, your body, language towards each other. So I'm gonna address both of you guys, you as respectfully as I can. So I do think asking, respectfully is important.
That's a great perspective, sister. That's great perspective. Let's get brother Kevin. Jump in here, brother. What are you thinking?
I think a wise man would take his wife's opinion and wise counsel um, uh, into consideration and ask her permission on a lot of things because the Most High gave Adam Eve for a purpose and as a helpmate. And so, I think if Adam didn't ask for some permission or instruction or even wisdom on some things, I think that it would have been um, fruitless for Eve to even be there. I mean, so I think definitely it's a wise decision on a man's part to take into consideration and to ask permission and just the opinion of his wife, um, uh, ultimately in all things, especially major things. So
That's a great point. That's a great point, brother. Let's hear from Quran. Quran, what are you thinking about what we're seeing here? Is permission a sign of respect or is that a sign of control? The fact that he has to, you know, speak with his wife before helping someone, what do you think that is? How would you perceive that? How do you think it's perceived?
I perceive it as a sign of respect because there's supposed to be one flesh, one body, one mind, one spirit that I've been reading. And I think you should always get your significant other's input. I mean, I really value a woman's insight, because they have a different perspective, especially on that. And if you're getting asked from a woman, I would uh I would take that as my sign to ask my woman. And if she says no, I would respect that in that moment, and I'm not going to question her right there. But later, when we're alone, I'll probably ask her, "Why didn't you want me helping that sister?"
Mhm,
Wanna
mhm,
I'm gonna show her that respect that I would want her to show me that respect too. If that in that scenario I told her no,
mhm.
I want you to go and do this, I wouldn't want her to question me right then and there.
Yeah.
But if she asks me on later, I'm gonna explain it, because
Mhm,
we need to have a deeper understanding of each other. We need to understand why we're doing the things we do, and I
mhm,
would respect whatever she says. And
mhm,
but depending on the scenario, as the man, I would have the final say. But in that scenario, I'm not gonna usurp her. I'm not gonna let that woman have any up on her.
mhm.
It is,
So
I
you,
say, disrespect.
so you're saying though you have the final say on this, you would capitulate to your wife if she says, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with that." Even though you have the authority to do it, you're saying you would acquiesce to your wife.
Yeah,
It's a
I
great
assume.
point, brother.
Yeah, at that moment, it depends. Like if we're in the privacy of our home, and that's a whole different scenario. But we're in front of these people right here, and
Mhm,
then she tells me no, and I don't want you to do this. I don't want any bitterness to spring up or to feel like I
mhm,
don't care or what's about what she's saying, or because I don't understand. I'm not gonna understand why she's saying no. She's probably not gonna explain it to me in that moment, and she probably has a valid reason, depending on whatever the reason is. And I want to hear that out later on. but I'm not gonna, this is at the end of the day, it's your wife, and this is the most important person in your life aside from God. So, uh, I believe you have more of a duty to, I guess, please her or acquiesce to her than any other person.
Yes, sir. That's a great point, brother. That's a very good point. I'm sure the audience is very appreciative of your breakdown, your perspective on that, a biblical perspective, a masculine yet biblical perspective. That's a great point. Um, so, brothers and sisters, I want to give you. Does anyone else want to have a comment to make on what we just saw, what we're discussing, before we close out this episode of Righteous Reactions? All right, brothers and sisters, today was another episode of Righteous Reactions. You all had some great opinions. I get people reaching out to us all the time, telling us how much they enjoy this segment of our ministry. And we couldn't do it without you all having the intestinal fortitude to speak what you believe is true, your opinion, irregardless of what other people may think. So we want to say Kwam Yasharala, sin no more.
Kwam
Kwam
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.